11th Undergraduate Senate order. We'll begin by calling the roll. Ms. Lipstein.
Here.
Ms. Polis.
Here.
Ms. Pearl.
Here.
Ms. Licia. Ms. Lane.
Here by proxy.
Thank you. Ms. Arnell.
Here.
Mr. Manu.
He's honored.
Mr. Rogers.
Here.
Mr. Hurwitz. Ms. Conover. Mr. Midway.
Here.
Ms. Fultz.
Here.
Mr. Ryan.
Here by proxy.
Ms. Hankins.
Here.
Thank you. Good quorum. Moving to the adoption of the agenda, just to note, I forgot to include something on the agenda that is included in the governing documents, which is that after a J-Board case has been filed and there's been a report about it, John is supposed to report the Senate. So that doesn't need to be amended. I just threw it in there. So as you can see, it's right there. He shall be here eventually. Any points or motions on the agenda?
Oh, wait.
Can you give me a second to think something?
Sure. Ms. Lipstein.
I'm just Sean.
Oh.
Would we possibly amend the agenda to move? I can't get the number. I only have an hour. Might go with the.
Yes. This one?
Yeah.
It didn't.
Okay, great.
So
That's good.
it's going to table it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything on the agenda?
I have a kind of question.
Okay.
Is that possible? Okay.
Whether it is-
Now, can we put, this is like kind of a multi-folded question, sorry. Can we put the new senators or confirmation after we do the COA report?
Yeah.
Because they
Agreed.
haven't read it, I assume.
That's up for you. That's up to you.
Yeah,
Agree with that.
Okay.
And we can get it done and get it.
yeah, because I
Okay, hang on. Hold on. This is a relatively important amendment.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't think that people who haven't read this report should be voting on it, because we're voting on whether or not to say that we agree or disagree with the report.
Okay.
So if people didn't read it, then.
So that's a formal amendment to put the COA report before new business?
Oh, well, I was just wondering if we could,
Yeah.
we could do that, or we could just like, we could do the new business and then just not induct them yet, and wait to after the COA report. came back. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll move to put it before new business. Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Hang on, it's,
I have a motion.
is there a second? Any objections? Seeing none, please.
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys didn't mind, just getting the JSEP confirmations done, because they have, I know that Hannah has an interview for her job, like, after this.
At what time? Okay. Oh, you're all there? Will be done.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't see any problem, but thanks for letting me know. I'll keep that in mind. And if we need to make an amendment, we will. For your time. Thank you. So is there a formal motion to put the COA report, old business before new business after reports? Is that something?
Yes, that would be
Is there
my
a
motion.
second?
Second.
Are there any objections? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I was in another.
I heard an aye. So,
I also say aye.
Yeah.
okay.
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none? We'll move. Yes.
And then, can I make another amendment?
Yes.
What are you doing here, bro? I missed you still.
Yes, Mr. Carroll.
The live stream.
Can we move the completion of Hannah Dempsey to the first
Is this fine?
position in new business? Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second? Any objections? Seeing none? Okay. Move.
What? Good, send away.
I'm having for the live stream.
Oh, I was like, why are you going to leave me?
I hate you.
So it's noted. You will go first. All right, Heather? Excellent. Any other points of motion? Are we prepared to adopt the agenda?
I think we are.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
I move that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none? Adopted. Adoption of the minutes from the 19th meeting, which you all received up front. From our dear friend Beck.
I would move to adopt them as I've actually received them this time.
Excellent. That wasn't that was hashtag name was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Is there a second? I heard that. Any objections? Seeing none, adopted. Thank you. So we'll move into a period of public comment. Ms. Arnell.
I have a public comment from an email that I would like to read for public comment from a member of the public.
Okay. So.
I wanted to be in this public comment because it is, yeah.
So here's the thing. As Josh pointed out, you are not a member of the public.
Oh, no.
I know you are.
It's also not.
Yeah, it's not the public. She's a member of the CEO.
Shouldn't,
No,
okay,
she
this
doesn't
is
have
about,
speaking rights, so she counts as a member of the public.
okay, shouldn't this be during the COA?
But she wants me to read it during public comment. She
Okay.
asked for it. Yeah.
Sorry, I
So
just,
that,
So I understand what you're saying. And thank you for that. It's up to you guys. It's up to the Senate. If you are okay with Lex reading a member of the public's points during full Senate. I don't think we need to vote. Are there any informal objections to this? Okay.
I have a question though.
Yes.
Is this gonna be added to the report?
yes, it will. Yeah, it will.
Okay.
Okay. Are we, can I go?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so this is a statement from Faith Wachowski. She says, members of the Senate, first of all, thank you for taking the time to read this email. I understand that the situation that has been unfolded over the past couple of weeks has been complicated and time-consuming. So thank you all in advance for taking the time out of your day to read this. I just want to take the opportunity to tell my side of the story of what happened this summer. Lex, George, and Sam worked tirelessly to put together their report and what they gathered about what happened. Unfortunately, the transcript from my interview is not included in the report. While this was not malicious, I do believe it is to be a disservice to all of you in making this decision if you don't have my testimony about what happened. And quite frankly, the testimony from all of the executives misrepresents what actually happened, and I cannot allow myself to let that stand. I am tremendously sorry that I cannot be there in person to deliver this. I work on Sunday mornings, and I couldn't find anyone to take my shift. I suppose that's a good thing, because I can't imagine actually going in and delivering this myself. I guess the first place I should start is some background on the website project all the executives were talking about in their testimonies. On June 2nd, I had a meeting with Dominic where he told me that Devontae and Sam had come to him and brought some concerns about how I am conducting myself in the office. Totally normal, mostly just miscommunications on all of our parts, and standards had changed between last year's e-board and this year's e-board in terms of conduct that I hadn't picked up on. That I will take responsibility for, that was 100% me. Also during that meeting with Dominic, he informed me that the contract to get the new website we had been working on was going to take longer than we initially hoped. I had initially believed, along with the Director of Communications at the time, that the contract could be pushed through SA and signed, sealed, and delivered within 1 week. Dominic informed me that that was not the case. We were working for we were asking for $10,000 to revamp the website, and it was literally impossible to push a request of that magnitude through university bureaucracy in this short period of time. There is an entire process in place for requesting funds larger than $5,000 that I was not aware of because I had never asked for anything more than $5,000 before. My Director of Comms was also unaware of that fact because we had more experience dealing with real-life contracts that could be finished within a week and had never dealt with a bureaucracy before. Though never once did I ask I was going to be abandoned the project. I said I was frustrated, yes, and I said it was not ideal, but I never said I was going to abandon it. In fact, on August 31st, my last official day as secretary, I went and touched base with Dominic about how the contract was progressing. It is currently going through the second round of negotiations because AU purchasing had more changes to make to the contract. The executive also claimed it took me 2 weeks to make a decision on whether to even upgrade the website. This is correct. My director of comms had brought the idea to me, and I said, I like the idea of upgrading the website if he could get me more details. He later brought me a proposal and quote he had gotten from one possible company and vendor that could upgrade the website with a quote of $10,000 for a new site. It was at that point that I called Chris and explained the project to him. We both agreed that we needed to do some more research on other vendors that could upgrade the site for us at a lower price. We got off the phone and Chris started researching other options. It was $10,000 for Austin's choice. We could have to pay $10,000 of student money to upgrade a website. That's the activity fee of 113 students. Of course, it took me a while to make a decision. It was $10,000. Anyone else would have done the same. I reject the fact that I was somehow in the wrong for choosing to fully research every option we had. On June 2nd, I had a meeting with Sam and Devontae following my meeting with Dominic. I apologized to them for the office conduct problems because I realized that behavior that may have been the norm with the 2015-2016 e-board was different than behavior that would be the norm for the 2016-2017 e-board. Essentially, I apologized to them. They looked like they accepted it, and Sam asked about the website project and how my meeting with Dominic about it had gone. I started to explain what he had said, and I was unhappy, and then both got very angry, and Devontae started talking about how we had been in office for a month, and I had nothing to show for it. How working with me on everything was a battle. Completely unnecessary comments for the situation. It was at that point that he asked me to resign. Strangely enough, all the executives remember it exactly the same way, which is differently than how I remember it. I remember that Devontae said, "Would you consider resigning your position?" I immediately replied that I wouldn't, to which he said, "Why not?" I said, "Because I think I can do this job," and he said, "Well, I have no confidence in your ability to do so." He then told me to think about it over the weekend, and then I left and sat in an empty classroom for 3 hours. That evening, I heard from a source, who I'm not going to name for the sake of their own privacy, that earlier in the day that had gone to KJS to speak to the executives just about something. They said that Devontae, Sam, and Austin, my former director of communications, were all sitting in the office. My source heard them all laughing, and then Austin asked, "So how did it go from her apologizing to you asking her to resign?" Followed by more laughter. I called Chris immediately after I heard about this and cried over the phone to him for an hour. Sorry, Chris. It is also important to be noted that at this time, I texted Shannon and said, "I don't need to know more information. I just need to know if you knew." She replied, "Yes, but I don't think this is the best time to talk about that. I have screenshots of that exchange if you want to collaborate." Okay. It was from that moment on that things became unfriendly. I was completely ignored when I was in the office, so I started working in the office during the day when Devontae was in his internship and Sam was working, just because it was easier for me to work when they weren't there. I never had to worry about Shannon because she isn't in the office for 8 weeks straight anyway. Shannon asserted in her testimony that I left because I was bad at comms. I disagree. What I did say is that I was not the best at writing strategic communication plans. I will note that no one's supposed to be on their laptop, so please put your laptop
I'm
away.
reading the email.
Okay. Shannon asserted himself. What I say is that I was not the best at writing strategic communications plans. I understand that, hence, I hired Austin because he had so much experience doing that. I hired Austin to write the strategic comms plan in the hopes that I would learn how to do them as the year went on. I hired Austin specifically for that purpose because I knew my weakness, so I hired someone who considered that his strong suit. However, I was not allowed to grow and learn because I was forced to leave for my own well-being, and that's implication. However, Austin and I wrote a year-long, 26-page PR plan for the AUSG comms. Devontae, Sam, Josh, Shannon, Chris, Val, Dawson, and Kendall approved this plan. In the case of all of those people, except for Josh and Chris, I sat down and had conversations with them to hear what they were thinking about the plan, and took all of their ideas and concerns and added them into the plan. Beyond that, I also wrote a 13-page crisis communications plan, which incidentally had to be used when I resigned, LOL. And an outreach plan wiped the jobs board and rebuilt it while working with 3 different university offices. Began compiling how my internal communications director would be working on events with programming. Wrote 2 press releases, updated the entire AUSG website, began work on a campus leader directory, met with the vice president of communications and marketing for the university to talk about the presidential search, and with the EIC of the Eagle to talk about how the year would work. And I also did all of the tabling and social for Eagle Summit. Note, I would be happy to provide copies of all of those things if you are interested in seeing them or want to corroborate my testimony. Maybe those things aren't good enough for Devontae, but I would consider all that a job well done for only 3 months in office. I would be very interested in seeing what exactly Devontae did all year, because I never saw him do much of anything, besides complain about how I was never doing anything. Beyond that, I would also be very interested in what Shannon did over the summer, as she testified that she never saw anything come out of my office. I, however, could probably count on one hand the number of times she was in the office over the summer, and I could also count on one hand the number of things she did. Things got the most unfriendly and reached the peak, I'd say, after we put out the post about Kevin Sutherland on social media on July 3rd. On July 3rd, we shared a Washington Post article about WMATA displaying Kevin Sutherland's photographs in the metro station on Facebook. We had shared the exact same post on Twitter 23 hours earlier. Let me be clear, we had shared the exact same post on Twitter 23 hours earlier. However, I got out of work on the day we shared it on Facebook to Devontae, absolutely annihilating me over text and telling me it sent the wrong message. I have no idea what that means, and he never explained further. I was just told that what I had shared was wrong and needed to have it approved by him, and he basically kept saying that all comms decisions had been approved through him, even though it says nowhere in the Constitution or bylaws that he had any say in how we do comms. If you were following the AUSG Facebook page, you know that we put out a press release about the 1-year anniversary of Kevin's death on the following day. I'm embarrassed we released that, and I'm embarrassed it had the AUSG logo on it. Not only was it poorly written, but Devontae refused to take any of my edits, even when they were just grammar. At that point, I knew that there would be no negotiating. Devontae had made it very clear that he was in charge and that he said what he said goes, even if it meant putting out a poorly written press release that nobody from the press team approved. That's probably when everything started going downhill. Basically, from that point on, Devontae and Sam didn't speak to me, and I didn't speak to them. We did our work on our own and did not interact. All of our interactions were over email, and it was over email that Devontae informed me that I was not allowed to hire positions in my cabinet. He told me that I was not allowed to hire an outreach coordinator for Greek life because he was working on Greek life himself, even though he had helped me pick a person for the job earlier that summer. Again, I have a screenshot of the conversation and the email if you wish to see it. It was in the same email that he told me he was rehiring Austin Stonebreaker in his cabinet. There is nothing inherently wrong with hiring Austin except for the fact that Devontae was giving him a position in AUSG until he could get rid of me, because then he would appoint Austin to fill my seat, which I had heard from Austin himself. Note, this is why the secretary appointment process was such a mess. It was common knowledge that everyone in the organization over the summer that once the executives got rid of me, they were going to appoint Austin to fill my seat. Austin walked around telling people he was going to be secretary the entire month of August and up until the day he was removed from the organization. The executives executed the application process poorly because they didn't think they were going to have to do it. They were going to have Austin fill out an application, do an interview for show, then have him during the first Senate meeting. It's probably about the same time that I personally started going downhill. I am going to tell you the next part because I believe all of you have a right to know for the sake of your investigation, and so you can truly understand why I left, not because I'm looking to get sympathy. I have an anxiety disorder. The anxiety disorder manifests itself in several ways. One is through panic attacks, and the other is through self-harm, sometimes both at the same time. Devontae was aware of this. I didn't tell him details, but he was aware that I am an anxious person and that I have a disorder. Shannon knew as well. I also told Shannon all of the details on the day I resigned, so the fact that she would still claim I left because I couldn't do the job is amazing to me. Most of the time, the best way I cope is by throwing myself into my work as a distraction. That's what happened when I served as Chief of Staff and Director of Financial Aid. However, this time I was barred from doing that. The office was no longer a welcoming place for me. Devontae made that very clear. I had to start working from home and working from coffee shops and empty classrooms during July because every time I even tried to go into the office, I had a panic attack. I was so afraid of Devontae and Sam and what they thought about me that I would have a serious panic attack every time I tried to go in. I couldn't even think about being in the office with Devontae or having to be around him when I knew how much he wanted me gone. I even started hearing from people that Devontae was trying to figure out how to impeach me when the Senate came back into session. Though, mind you, he never spoke to me personally, so I was hearing all of this secondhand. My point in telling you this is that no matter how much Devontae claims, he sought my resignation and he forced me out by making the office and all surrounding activities unsafe and anxiety-inducing. I had more panic attacks in a short time as AUSG secretary than I did my entire freshman year of college. I have self-harmed in these past few months more than I have ever. Feel free to take this information or leave it, but I thought it is important for you all to know. I thought about resigning when I heard the impeachment rumor for the first time. At that point, I thought things had been getting a little better. Evidently, I was wrong because the president was scheming to get rid of me. When I heard the rumor, I called Chris, sorry Chris, it's always you, and sobbed over the phone to him. He sent me a text later that night about how he thought that I should resign because he was worried about me and thought I shouldn't have to put myself through this anymore. The day I finally chose to resign was Tuesday, August 3rd, 6 days later. Feel free to ask Devontae about the text and sent to the text he sent to the exec group that day. Imagine feeling the way I did and then receiving that text. If Devontae won't read it to you, then ask Sam or Shannon or Josh because they all received it too. And I believe that Shannon went to Dominic and told him about it because it was a lot. If none of them will read it to you, then shoot me an email. I'd be happy to send you a screenshot. Of course, that text complied with all the garbage I had already dealt with from them in the previous week and induced an immediate panic attack. It was when I received the text from Devontae that I knew I would never be a valued, respected member of the executive board. I would just continue to sit in my anxiety and have panic attacks for the whole year. It was at that point that I chose to resign for my own mental health. However, it must be noted that my mental health had deteriorated in the first place because of how Devontae had treated me. I think this is an important place to note that I was very much alone in this endeavor. The fact that Shannon was aware that they were going to ask me to resign and still allowed it to happen gave me confidence that gave me no confidence that any sort of HR would be done to mediate the situation. Never once did they suggest mediation, never once did she speak to Dominic, and never once did she reach out to me until I told her I was resigning. While I wouldn't argue that Shannon played an instrumental role in making me resign, I would argue that she had an instrumental role in making sure I went through with it. Say what you will about my ability to do the job, but that's not what's at question here. Even if they did think I could do it, there were 1,000 different things they could have done before even considering trying to force me to resign. This was not done. They ignored all process procedure and precedence because the situation got messy and they didn't care enough to try and fix it. Ultimately, they decided my fate for me, and they decided they were above the rules or better than the rules and attempted to go around them by forcing me to resign because I saw other options. That's why I chose to come forward today. The executives can say I was bad at communications all they want, but I did not deserve to have a panic attack today, and sometimes more than once, and sit on the phone with Chris sobbing about how I thought I was going to die while sitting alone in an empty room. Say what you will about my job performance, say what you will about my ability to do this job, but I do not deserve to be treated this way. And I did not deserve to have to deal with this alone because the head of HR was too busy. I understand that this is a lot of information to process. Please feel free to direct questions to Chris, as he was around through most of this and saw firsthand about how I was affected. You can also ask questions to Dante for much of the same reason. Feel free to send me a message or an email. I just urge all of you to think hard about the testimony and about the report before making your decision. Best, Faith.
Wasn't too long.
All right. Thank you. Is there any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, thank you. Move to the reports of officers. You have 4 minutes, and if you'll need more motion for that, and then we'll do questions.
Cool, so I'll address that first. I have 3 points to make about that entire statement, and I'll be happy to take questions. First, I just wanted to be known that she said on record 2 weeks ago to fail my appointment that the reason she quit was because she did not have SG comms experience. Don't believe me? Check the minutes. Second, I'd be hesitant to politicize what happened with Kevin Sutherland. I think that's a very delicate situation. I can provide more details about that, but the fact that that's being used as a political tool really unnerves me. And third, I'd be more than happy to call Dominic in. He knew everything that happened the entire summer. He offered that he'd be available. So if you want me to, I can call him in and he can clear every single thing up. So Shannon isn't here today because she planned a few weeks ago to go home for her relative's 90th birthday, but she is our SU representative to the University Budget Committee. They began meeting on Friday. It was a very introductory meeting, but they're going to be continuing to convene throughout the semester. The secretary application was moved back a week. As you all were emailed, we didn't have a big enough pool, so we wanted more applicants to choose from. The application is going to be closing tonight, so I suggest that you encourage a few more people to apply. Last Friday, I met with Dr. Hanson and Dr. Ah, who work in the Office of Campus Life, so they could brief me on what happened with the racism on campus. Following that, they let me know that they were going to have a forum that afternoon at about 1 p.m. This was in Butler Boardroom. A few people showed up, not very many, but it was a relatively decent turnout. That Saturday, we released a statement / we sent out an email. That Monday, I went to the BSA protest and rally and spoke with some of the BSA members about what was going on to get their input and understand the role that I could play in this entire situation. Then that Tuesday, following the rally, we had a forum in which the deans and VPs and myself met with Dr. Ah to be briefed on the situation and the format of the forum. After the forum, it ended about 6 o'clock. It was from 4 to 6. We debriefed the entire thing to discuss next steps. That Wednesday morning, we had the Breakfast Club, which is just a bunch of student leaders getting together with a few other AU admin leaders. So it was myself, Student Bar Association, Graduate Leadership Council, RHA had representation, Dr. Hanson, Dr. Ah, other OCL staff, and Dr. Kerwin came to debrief the forum that happened the previous day and discuss next steps amongst other things. A big thing of his was figuring out, not figuring out, but letting us know what his sort of end goal was. He talked a lot about the budget, a lot about the council that he formed on diversity and inclusion. Let's see, that Thursday after Breakfast Club, Josh and I met and we worked until 2 in the morning to formulate a strategic advocacy plan on how we were going to implement some of the solutions we came up with to the racism that was happening on campus. And so we sat down to really look at what those structural policy initiatives would look like. And then after Thursday, we met with members of our cabinet to let them know about the plan and to devise next steps with them and how we're going to implement the strategic advocacy plan over the next few weeks. So that is what my past week looked like. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
You sure?
Are you gonna be here for the COA report?
I sure will.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. So excited. Sam, you have a presentation, correct?
Yes.
I'll pull that up.
I want to say the standard, all my reports, all here.
Next.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I just want to start off by addressing, what we all just read. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. A lot of the things that I don't feel were completely accurate, but yeah, I'll answer any questions that you may have. Going on to, my work over the past 2 weeks. We had Hassan Minaj here. It was a huge success. We had about 750 people show up in Bender. He did 30 minutes of stand-up comedy, and then he did a 30-minute Q&A, which was really, really remarkable. He was funny, but also it was like a really substantive conversation. And we co-sponsored that with SASA. As many of you know, Senator Elizabeth Warren was here this week. I know a lot of people across the school had a lot of feelings about this event because of the way it was put on. So if you have any questions specifically about how it was structured, please let me know and I can answer them. We were informed Monday morning that Senator Elizabeth Warren had reached out to SBA. She wanted to come and do the lecture-style presentation that she had been doing throughout schools in Massachusetts, and SBA asked us to put the event on Monday morning. So in about 48 hours, we created the entire run-up show, the entire plan for the event. It was in Ward 1 because that's where SPA wanted it to be, not because NFU wanted it to be there. But the awesome part was that everyone that was in line with tickets were able to get into Ward 1. So we didn't actually have to turn anyone away. And then Ward 2 was also filled with spillover. They got to watch it on the screens. And then at the end, Senator Warren took a selfie with every single person in the audience that wanted one, which was truly remarkable. Some things coming up. This Monday, KPU is co-sponsoring the SOC Debate Watch Party. Tuesday is National Voter Registration Day. So with Purple Vote, we're doing a fair from 11 to 2 on the quad. We're going to have hot dogs, churros, inflatable jousting, elections trivia, a lot of fun stuff. October 5th is WI's General Interest Meeting at 8 p.m. The following day, they're co-sponsoring an event with SAFSI called How to Support a Friend. But that same night, there will be a KPU event that we're launching this week, so stay tuned for that. The WI event it's not a WI event, it's a co-sponsorship, which is why we still plan to have the KPU event that night. Sub has an event with The Darkening on October 8th. It's a Saturday in the amphitheater. It's going to be artistic expressions of feelings against like police brutality, all the racism that's been happening on campus. And then obviously I didn't put it up, but All American Weekend is coming up very fast with Tony Goldwyn, very excited. And that's it.
Oh, that's it, okay. Do you have any questions for the Vice President? Seeing none. Step aside, thank you. Yes, I can. Sam, did you send that to Ben? Because
Yes.
whenever I share projects with people, it doesn't go with that.
Sure.
Thank you. Okey doke. Next, we'll move to Chris. And you just sent me something?
I just shared.
Oh, okay. And same. You did or?
I did.
Oh, good.
Hello, everyone. Yeah.
Okay.
So our last info session will be on Wednesday. So that'll be Wednesday, September 28th at 9:30 p.m. in Hughes Formal. Our first info session last Monday had a really good turnout. The room was set up a little weird. It was like set up as like a square, but nonetheless, it was very good. And a couple of people from that info session have reached out to us that like to get more involved. So we're really excited about that. And then the Thursday, info session was a little less attended, but nonetheless, we still have people looking to get involved in AOSG. So I hope that the info session this Wednesday will be very well attended and we can get all of our positions filled. So I would like as many AOSG cases as possible. So if you're free Wednesday at 9:30, please stop by Youth Hall. Things have kind of slowed down finally. So this week I mainly focused on the info sessions, as well as just like general comms upkeep stuff that the secretary does, creating new USG emails for our newest members, as well as getting our new positions up on the website. So if you go to the website right now, there's new positions available in the president's cabinet, as well as positions that have been available for a couple of weeks in the secretary's cabinet, which I'll get to in the next slide. If you know, I talked about this last week, if you know a videographer or a graphic designer, I'm looking for those. The graphic design position will be paid. I've already spoken to SA about that. And once we find somebody, I'll come to Senate for that, like, actual real approval. But they did say that we have some wiggle room with our stipend number for this year, so we're really excited about that. Because that position takes on a lot of and that person will be helping us as well, because we do have a lot of graphic design projects that we're going to be needing throughout this semester and into next semester. It's a big jump. And also an AOSG video person, which is not paid, but also very important because we haven't had, our only video this year was DeMonte's trigger warning video. And I would really like a somewhat professional video person to join our staff, as there's like a missed opportunity there, I feel. Yeah. And just remember that, as always, this meeting is being live streamed for like people to watch right now and for like the archive. So you and I are not judged on only what we do in the meeting, but also how we conduct ourselves and treat our fellow students. You know, people always talk about civility, but like it's a, you know, let's be civil. I don't want to step on the broken record, but. Questions?
Great, right. Are there any questions for Mr. Schneider? Seeing none, Ms. Stepaside, thank you for being on your performance. Of course. Josh, you're up. No presentation, just comments? Okay, all right, I didn't know if you said.
Hi friends, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Josh, I'm chief of staff. There was recently a J-Board advisory opinion issued regarding me and my conduct this summer, and I think this is the third meeting where I've had to address this. One, I'm a very chill person. You can come and talk to me if you have any questions about getting my paid or what I did this summer. If there are any members of the Senate who would like to go through all of the emails I sent this summer, I would be happy to sit down and do that with you. The executive director of Student Voice, the graphic designer, the speaker, the IT director, KPU director, Women's Initiative director, Founders Day director, sub-director, SAC director are all paid positions, and you see none of them with J-Board positions, with advisory opinions. It's almost like people are trying to knock down the person right next to the president and drag down the entire process. I think this issue is political, especially given the fact that I have come before you every single meeting, said that I am very chill and that we can talk about whatever you would like, as opposed to, you know, going to our dear friends at J-Board to see if I did any wrongs, which I believe they found I didn't because of vagueness of the things, but I'm sure you'll talk about it. I'll send out my weekly meeting, or my weekly email after this. If any senators would like to meet this week. Really, all advocacy projects have been put on hold because we've been focusing on the racial issues on our campus. We've been meeting with various members of BSA and developing a comprehensive plan to make this community safer for the individuals who live here, and who pay a ton of money to be here. Not that we're waiting money, but so like if you want to do advocacy, which is what the President's Cabinet has been doing, please meet with me. There are no senators involved yet. Some may want to be. Please just reach out to me. You'll have my email. And all of our advocacy had to be put on hold for a brief time while we focus on solving this issue and preventing hate crimes on our campus. Any questions?
There is. Any questions? Seeing none, you may step aside. Great. Yep. You gonna need more than 4 minutes? Or you can,
We'll see.
Okay.
So I will, yeah, I will.
Yes.
I have none. I'm going to start with the things that I'm not required to say, and then I'll start with the things I'm required to talk about. In terms of things I'm not required to tell you, but I'm happy to bring forward, we have officially appointed both a clerk and a prosecutor. The clerk is a freshman. His name is Cole Harper. The prosecutor you know quite well, Senator Midway, conditional on when he officially leaves the Senate. If you have any questions about that, feel free to do so at the end. Some other notes. I will be leaving here as soon as I can, hopefully after the COA report, that may end up having to leave beforehand. So if you have any questions from well, what do the rules say? And you would like to ask either myself or the parliamentarian, specifically if you'd like to ask me, please do so at the end of this report, rather than waiting for the actual COA report, just so I can leave. I have a class thing to get to. I will also not be here next week. I will hope that one of the J board members will be here so that they can talk about anything if necessary. No promises on that. Okay, given that that's everything, to the things that I'm required to talk about. As I've done before, every time that the Judicial Board releases a case, I have to come before the Senate and talk about what we did. In this instance, we released Advisory Opinion 11.001, myself presiding. The case was, the opinion was written by one of our associate members. It was submitted by officially Sam Rogers in his capacity as a member of the Committee on Oversight and Accountability. So you can also consider this that the committee itself submitted this report, submitted the questions. We were asked 4 total questions. Question 1, is the Chief of Staff compensated for work within the student government? The answer was relatively simple. We cite 2 different documents that talk about the pay structure of all of the members. The Chief of Staff is compensated $4,000 for his work in the student government. 2, is the Chief of Staff required to hold office hours? This question, as the Chief of Staff alluded to, is very, very murky. I'll get into the history, and I think that sort of explains a lot about it. So prior to, I want to say approximately the 8th Senate, the definition of working for the student government for all paid positions, or like most paid positions, was holding office hours. This was true for the Speaker, for the Chief of the Judicial Board, this was true for all the execs, et cetera, et cetera. There was, according to Kevin, who talked about this with me, there was some edict that came down from the university that we have no record of if it actually happened, that said we shouldn't be requiring office hours of our members. And so a piece of that provision was struck from the bylaws. That said, a lot of the things that were based on that original piece were still in there. So what the board ruled was, in the absence of a very clear answer, we have to default onto the implications of the bylaws, which talk about work as holding office hours and talk about a vacation as not holding office hours. I think the Speaker can forward to you the full opinion if you'd like to read it, but basically what we said is for all paid positions, you should be holding office hours. Senators have also held themselves to holding office hours despite not being paid. This was by bill, not by bylaw. And then the other thing is if you're a paid position but not necessarily an elected position, so if you're like the graphic design person for the Secretary's cabinet, what we said is you don't have to be holding office hours, but you should be doing work such that your position is substantially different from being an elected position. I can clarify what we think that means, but obviously none of this is actually binding because, again, this is an advisory. Question 3, what does it mean to take a vacation, specifically just to refer to physical proximity or a break from work? Again, a lot of our answer was it's pretty murky because the bylaws are very unclear. I will again reiterate my call to redo the bylaws, probably at the beginning of next Senate. But that being said, I think we're about to run out of time. If I get some more time, that would be great.
So now,
I'll extend the speaking period for 3 minutes.
That 2 seconds. Any objections? Seeing none? 3 minutes.
Sure. So basically what we said is, for the positions that probably have to hold office hours, the definition of working is holding those office hours. So it's not where you are, it's what are you doing. So if you wanted to hold like Skype office hours from your house I'm from Cleveland, so I'll go to Cleveland, we think that's probably okay. The real answer is there is supposed to be a document that governs what it means to work for AU. It's the employee handbook. As best the judicial board can tell, that document does not exist. We asked for it and never got it. We may want to also work on writing that. Question 4. In being out of town for the summer, did the chief of staff violate this subsection? Given that this is an advisory opinion, the judicial board issues no comment on that question. We can't make decisions about did someone do something or did someone not do something from an advisory opinion. I think that's all I have to talk about. Are there any questions about, let's start with first what I had to say for today.
Thank you. Are there any questions for John? Yeah.
Let me see about the COA.
Okay. Is there anybody who has a non-COA question? Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. So my question for you is, is there a way to set a binding precedent for situations like this in the future without going through a J board investigation?
A bill.
That works. I don't know,
Or like a bylaws amendment?
Bylaws amendment, something different.
If you wanted to make rules, you also have, yes, you can make rules by traditional means. As I explained, I think last Senate, I don't remember, it's binding in the sense that another Senate could come and overturn it, but unless another Senate came and overturned it, it would hold. Obviously, a little different than what happened. But, yeah.
Any other questions? All right, John. That's it. Thank you. And because John might have to leave, if you do have any questions, you can definitely refer to Scott, our parliamentarian. He's very good at his job. Okay, 4 minutes. You said it. Only myself. Okay. Not a lot this week. The one thing that did occur was that we had on Wednesday our joint meeting with the Wellness Center, Insider AU, and SG. I sent out an email to everyone on Monday that didn't go through. It's okay, no problem. Scott and I went. Excellent time. We learned a lot of good things. So we are the only people who are able to table at the moment for the Bedsider AU Safe Sex Kit partnership we're doing. We are going to have more trainings with the Wellness Center because only one person from Bedsider AU was also able to go. We both chalked it up to the fact that Elizabeth Warren is here. Because I'm serious, a lot of people said that they would have gone, but they got tickets for Elizabeth Warren, so did Bedsider AU people. So that's okay. We got a couple of appointments up this week. 2 for the Senate, our last 2 for the Senate. And this was a question that was addressed to me by Chris during CRP, and I think it's worthy addressing here. He asked me why. We're pretty late in the game, why am I appointing you people? And I keep doing it for a couple reasons. One, I think back to when you all chose me to do this job, and it was a small group. By the time the meeting was over, there were only 10 of us. And I don't think we can conduct business when there's only 10 of us. I think we can, but I'd like to conduct our business at full capacity. I received a record number of applications from the Senate this summer, and I think it's only fair that we hear those people out. I met with just about everyone who wanted to meet with me about this position, and it was very hard to say no to a lot of them, because there were a lot of good people. A few people ended up rescinding their appointments because of time commitment things and work. Like someone who I put up a couple weeks ago has decided to withdraw because he has a work commitment now on Sundays. It's perfectly fine. But to answer the question of why I'm still doing this is because I think we have the capacity to. We still have enough time. And the people that I'm appointing this week in particular show a particular interest in specific issues on this campus. And I think they have the capacity to learn now. And if they feel interested in running again or joining another wing of student government, they can do so. That's all up for you to decide, though. That's just my 2 cents on that. And in regards to the public comment, if you have any questions for me, you can ask. I won't hold anything back. I hold two roles in this situation. I hold the public one and I hold the private one. I'll answer questions on both. As many of you know, I've been dating Ms. Rakowski for over 2 years now. I've been dating her for a long time before we were both in this organization. And I was here this time, and both were here this time. So if there are any questions in regards to that, I will answer, no matter what. A tough situation for a lot of us in student government, and a tough summer. But that aside, are there any questions? Mr. Pearl?
Just because do we not have a speaker temple or whatever?
No, my goal was to wait until we had a full CRP to then elect a tenant. Missing 2 people, and we're probably going to be missing 1 more when Chris decides to turn over his role as a senator and become a prosecutor. Congratulations on that, by the way. Any other questions? We'll take care of that. Any other questions? None? Good. All right. Thank you. Wonderful. Next, we will move to old business as amended. We'll begin with the COA report. Now, where we left off last time, we were going to begin debate on the matter. We decided to table it because it was a long document and not everyone had the time to read it. We intentionally put the COA report before new business, so only people in the Senate when this occurred can vote and have judgment on it. So, we're going to pick up right where we left off. Mr. Pearl.
I'd like to make a motion to add Faith Rakowski's testimony to the COA report.
Already, yeah.
Oh, is that okay? Sorry, I thought we had to do that officially. Sorry.
Has it been done?
I was gonna add that.
Yes, and-
It's going to be added, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lipstein.
I have to leave for class, so I'm just asking for a motion to, if suspend the rules so that, she can kind of look at the clock.
That's perfectly fine. That's within the rules. As it is in the guide. Please send me an email. Thank you. So you're hearing out. Points or motions? Any points or motions on the report? This includes the wonderful, wonderful thing that we have to do, which is voting. So are there any points or motions on the report? Mr. Pearl?
Can we just kind of go over what we have to do? We have to agree with the report.
Yes.
Can we have Ms. Arnell speak actually about unless there's something you want to speak about, because you weren't here last weekend.
Yeah, if you want me to speak on it, I will. So we spent, last week, or 2 weeks ago, sitting down with everybody. Our goal is not to, our goal was, we didn't have one common goal. We don't want a certain thing. We laid out what it was. We gave you the facts. We're going to add the testimony of Faith Rakowski. And so it's up to the Senate to decide, out of the options that we gave you, what is going to happen. So if you go to the report, there's an option under censure, an option under suspension, an option under impeachment. And those were the options that, with information like this, these are the options that we have. And as a body, it's not up to my committee. It's not up to any one of us to make the decision, because it's a big decision that will impact the organization, the campus, and that's important to, I think, take mind of. So I think that it's important that we have a discussion on what was found in it. I think that it's important that we ask questions after getting Faith's testimony, which I will admit that what she said was a lot more in her statement than what I got on the phone with her during her interview. But all very valid, all things that were said in the interview on the phone with me were also what she stated in the thing. So I think that's important we discuss the whole report as a body and then decide what to do. So.
Please remember that you have, you each get 2 points on the matter for 1 minute each. You were exactly at 1 minute, Lex. So, sure.
So I just wanted to, since this doesn't happen very often, just reiterate what all the choices are. there are two independent questions before the Senate. The first one, like going in order, the first question is, do you want to adopt this as the opinion of the Senate? That is yes or no. If you fail it, it can go back to the committee, they can revise it. You can't necessarily send specific things, just email them. That's another way to send specific things. The second question, which again can be decided independently of the first question, is how the Senate would like to proceed. It's not a yes or no question. It's, we would like to submit a case to the judicial board, in which case you have to pick who you want to submit that to. We would like to do nothing, or we would like to make some motion against some individual. Technically, you can do one of the second options without adopting this as the opinion of the Senate. Not sure why you would, but those are options. Does anyone have a question?
I have a point of inquiry.
I'll yield.
I don't know if it's more.
Okay.
It's both of you kind of. So are we not allowed to edit this document directly?
No, you're not.
Okay.
The way it works
It's not a
is
bill.
we either say yes or no.
Okay.
That's it. You can discuss what it says and have personal opinions on it, but we cannot change the document.
Okay. Are
If
we
you
allowed
see
to?
anything very egregious, I recommend you vote no. But if you don't, it's up to you. You can also independently submit something that happens to say exactly the same things except what you've removed. It's a way around rules.
So.
You can do your own report.
Yeah.
Just do what John's saying.
But then couldn't I just like
you-
submit my report right now?
Yes, so, thank you for reminding me, I read that the other day. If you don't agree with the report, you can do your own. That is an option. It is a timely option. It's up to you guys. But yes, up or down vote. Yes or no? Is there,
In regards to, I have another point.
okay, you have a second point, okay.
In regards to that, I think that it's also important that we recognize the time in which we have, and we only have 2 more meetings. Is that 2?
I think it's 2 or 3.
2 or 3 more meetings, and before this Senate is over, and some of us will not be here. And things like this this will no longer be a open discussion for the next Senate. It needs to be closed by then. So we've had the time to read it. We've had the time to interview people. We have the people in this room that are available to be asked additional questions if we wish to do so. And so it's now or never kind of thing.
Thank you. Any other points? Mr. Pratt?
This point of inquiry.
Okay.
Can something be like, could I make a motion to add something to the bill? To the, report? Like how Faith's testimony was added? Like, could I do that? Is that a question?
A piece of evidence.
Yes. I think it's corroborating, like.
Can you discuss? Can we do it this way? We can add them, but they need to discuss it in this open session.
I'm free to do that. It's a screenshot of the text message Devontae sent to the executive member group that Faith talked about in her public comment.
Okay, so
I think that's
can we email it to him, put it up to see it,
Yeah.
and then we can add it as evidence into the document.
Hang on. A lot of questions here. First of all, I have a question for the parliamentarian team over here. In regards to the fact that we are in Senate, we have the report in front of us, it's an up or down vote. I don't think we can add anything to it, because we are in formal Senate. Is this something the group can consider, but cannot be included in the report? Or is this a living document that we can add to it and then decide up or down? Will you yield? I will yield. Awesome. My reading of the rules is it was written as you have to up or down. Yeah. So I'm going to continue to speak as if the rules were put in place. However, I'm also willing to acknowledge that you as the Senate, specifically the senators, can suspend the rules and could conceivably make changes to the report. It would require a 2/3 vote to suspend, but it is technically permissible. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. I'll start with Mr. Pearl and then I'll go to Chris, unless you have a motion.
I was gonna motion.
Okay, so I'm just
Just a
gonna.
question before.
Okay, you can.
What's the process? Wait, if they don't suspend the rules, what's the process then the committee is adding to the report. So like, Senator Arnett said that witness testimony had already been added, but like, what's the process that the committee went through to do that? Didn't they have to approve the report themselves? So did they have to approve the addition of witness testimony?
I'm unsure. I guess, Ms. Ornell, would you yield for that question?
Yeah, I mean, if the suspension of the rules doesn't go through, we won't add it, but it's the committee's understanding that it should be added because it is her testimony, since it wasn't in person. Those are her words, this is what she said. We addressed the testimony within the report, and so that's our understanding of it, I believe.
Thank you. Is this a motion or?
No, I have a question
Okay.
before we do the question.
Yeah.
If we suspend the rules right now as a motion, then can we like willy-nilly add and remove things, or is this to suspend the rules to add one thing, we have to do this every time? Or can we vote individually on the things that we add and remove after?
So, Article 6, Section 2, Rules of Debate, subsection 2 and 3, you would have to vote as a 2/3 majority of the Senate in order to amend or suspend any rules of decorum and debate. So unless there is a motion to.
No, I understand that part. What I want to know, if we suspend the rules and we want to add,
I think it would have to be individual unless it's specific.
Handle this.
Okay. I see what you're saying. It's a very good point.
Like, I need to break decorum.
Okay, yes, I know. I was reading. So, Mr. Pearl.
So I move to suspend the rules. However, I want to keep like decorum kind of in the sense where we're still kind of talking one by one. I mostly want to suspend the rules so that we can add or edit to anything that we choose, meaning more than one thing, and including editing, and we would have to vote on the edits. And
Hang on.
I would also, and I forgot the second part, so if that comes up, we'll figure it out.
This requires that
And I
you
would
would have a 2/3.
Yes.
Thanks, Scott.
And I would also like to do this for 30 minutes.
As a cap?
As a cap. And if we don't reach that cap, then we'll just end early.
Okay, that's fine. So, hang on, wait. So there's been a motion on the table. You object. Okay, state your objection.
I only object to the fact that for editing purposes, I would be more comfortable if it was for adding testimony or evidence within it. I don't want editing purposes because what is written, other than grammatical errors, what is written is what was said, and I'm not going to edit it now.
I meant,
okay, hang on.
So,
it's not like what was verbatim said. That I wanted to add is that like, if our findings change based on evidence given, does that make sense? So like the part where you say, this is what the report found, if we're given more evidence during this period, then we would need to change that part.
the findings and conclusions.
Yes, that's why. But not any of the verbatim testimonies, because those are verbatim.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, you withdraw? Okay. So, yes.
In terms of that,
Yeah.
if the findings change,
Okay.
that changes the message of COA, not of the Senate, because it's COA's report.
Yes.
Correct.
Are we okay, like, are you guys okay with that is more of my question? Because that's a bigger thing than I think is.
I'm sorry, now we can do it.
I'll yield to the question. I agree. I'm hesitant for that fact, but if the Senate is going to adopt this is their opinion, then so be it.
Thanks. So, onward. There has been a motion to suspend the rules for a max of 30 minutes to discuss the matter. I'll still conduct this like regular business, and I'll call on people just to suspend the rules for the report's purposes. Are there any objections? Seeing none. Is there a second?
Second.
I
Sorry about that.
Okay. Didn't hear long enough.
Yeah.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it by two-thirds majority. So the rules have been suspended. So that also means that you can have as many points as you want. I'd like you to I really hope that you keep them under 1 minute. Because I'm sort of infatuated by this time thing. So, Mr. Pearl.
So to begin with, I would just like to add Faith's testimony in, because we now officially are doing it, I guess you could say, from what I understand. So I would like to officially add that, and I would like to vote on the addition of the testimony.
So, motion to add what was included in the email from Mr. Kowski. It's read aloud in public comment, but that's just for our relevance, it's not relevant to the committee. Any objections? Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Me and the chair, 1 2/3, the ayes have it. Ms. Arnell?
I'm working on it right now.
Thank you. Mr. Pratt?
I sent you the screenshot of the text message, and I motioned to add that to the report too.
Okay.
Move, motion, whatever, go.
Sorry, I'm choking.
That's all right.
Can we put that up on the screen too? And forward it to me?
Is that all right with everybody?
Put it on here.
Any objections? Informal objections? Personal objections?
Can I, a point of inquiry?
Yes.
So what is this text message in regard to? Because there's multiple things mentioned.
This is the text, or I guess Greg can answer, but this is the text that she refers to when she talks about Devontae, the execs getting it,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
why?
Getting the text, the text
Getting the
message that
recognition.
Devontae sent to the group message in regards to her resigning.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Pratt, you are asking me to put it on the screen. Is
Yes.
that the only thing you're asking me to do?
Uh,
Are you?
and then I'm motioning to add it to the report as evidence. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, good. So you sent it. Send it to me?
I did.
Oh, yeah, okay. Going up on the monitor. I need to, I won't need to scroll. You can all read it. If you cannot see it, okay. Hang on, let me try to. No, it doesn't work.
You can probably say that to your computer and then.
What?
If you hover
Yes.
over the picture, you can. No, now you have to undo.
Why don't you just forward it to us?
Yes, okay, I will do that, thank you.
Or you can open the tab, open image.
I'm just gonna forward it to everybody. I appreciate it, but
Yes.
Forward it. Undergraduate, okay. I'll read that. Oh, yeah, I'll put it back on the screen, I know. And Brandon,
I'm here, Jess?
so you said you can read it, right?
You, it's here.
So, yeah, you can read it, don't press it. So it's back on the screen, you can all read it. Don't wanna read it. This is good. Is there any points or motions now? Mr. Pratt,
I move to add this to the report as evidence.
okay. Is there a second?
A second.
Is there any objections? You don't get to,
Yeah, I have a question.
okay.
I think before it's added, there should be context, because I don't know what the context is behind this text message.
Okay.
I don't know what date this was, I don't know what this text message is in regard to.
Okay, okay, so, point noted. Mr. Pratt, would you like to rescind your motion? So there can be, I guess, points of debate on the subject matter.
Sure.
It's up to you, okay? You
Yeah.
rescind. So now, anybody, point or motion? Yes,
Let's type up a context paragraph to be added, and we'll motion for that context paragraph and this to be added to the report.
So,
I don't wanna put the weight on you.
can I
yeah, yeah.
So, would it be okay if we context it with, right, so the evidence right now is done by like, it's an appendix to something else, so this would be as the evidence to her testimony.
So can we add to her email in parentheses that note that it's you typing or that Celia typing, put C appendix like figure blah, blah, blah for this text.
Correct, that's how it would
Between-
be, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Points or motions?
I can also provide the text messages before and after to give everyone more context as to why that was sent, if you would like that.
Yeah, too.
Okay. So, huh? Do you want to do it, Sam, or do you want me to?
I can understand that.
Okay.
Sure.
And then I can also discuss
Yeah,
it
if
if
you
anyone.
all want to take care of that. Wait, I just realized. You all can do it, but you can't do it. So, is there a senator in the room who would like to have the texts associated with this put on the monitor?
That sounds a lot like something made, but it's by
It has to.
volition this time around, I
I would
suppose.
like
I'm not
that.
trying to, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Is there a second?
Oh, I seconded, sorry.
Any objections? Seeing none, all right, we'll go on to the monitor. So, did you send it?
Yeah, there's 3 screenshots.
Okay.
I don't know if they came in the right order or not, but I think they're in the order. That's the last one. That's the second one. The first one at the bottom.
Is the blue you?
The blue me.
You have the date.
This was August 1st.
Employment inquiry, what date did you? August 31st. No.
No,
What day did she state her intention to resign?
I think it's, yeah, something like, the 6th.
Okay.
Want me to scroll up, scroll down?
Oh, sorry, can we have these forwarded to us also?
Yes.
Sorry, I
It's bottom to top the order, just to clarify.
And anyone who's not in hashtag undergraduate?
Include me into that.
Val.
Yeah.
Undergraduate.
Greg?
Valentina.
Oh, right, we just, yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot I took the other hashtag undergraduate.
Yeah, I don't think I'm in this.
Yeah, I did it on this.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Hello, Emma.
Eric.
I'm here.
Eric.
Hi, I don't think I'm in this either.
You're
I'm
not?
getting there. I didn't get anything just now.
Did you get the, no, you're not, okay.
Yeah, so who knows?
Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
Anyone else that's relevant? I wasn't meant to be sassy, I was just doing my job. Okay, anyone else?
That's it.
Okay. Rita? Any points or motions?
Can we have a, motion to chill?
Motion to chill.
I haven't even gotten yet.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Project them and scroll slowly.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I can like give more like verbal context as like the Facebook posts we're talking about as well.
Sure, okay. So, you can all read these. You get it?
Yeah, I got it. I was
Okay.
reading them.
Okay, thank you. So, Sam, you would like to give a minute?
Yeah, so the Facebook posts that we're referring to in this instance were the Facebook posts where it was like the Meet the Executive Board posts. We had talked about doing them, and then we had encouraged to wait until like right before Welcome Week to do it, so that it was more like strategic, like the hype, the excitement would be bigger. We would have announced the sub-concert already, so people would be paying more attention. And like the evening after, like we had discussed pushing it back, they went up, one of them went up anyways. So that's when we were saying, like, we thought we had agreed not to do the Facebook posts this week that we were going to do.
Okay. Thank you for a second. Did you end up, which week did you end up doing these posts?
They ended up going up when we didn't want them to.
The earlier.
Yes.
We ended, after the first one went out, we ended up, we staggered them the rest of that, because we put the one out, so now we can't not.
Right, like based on the mistake that was made.
Right.
Thank you. Got it.
Are we allowed to question the execs? Hey, you got time.
Um,
Devontae, I see that you texted the group, did you also send an email today? Because you're referencing an email here, but I didn't know if you sent an email regarding this exact subject.
So the email, I believe was sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I believe it was that email. I was in an email correspondence with Gab about that. So that's what was being referred to. Yeah.
Very fuzzy, I know.
So,
If it's on the monitor, then, yes, point?
I was just gonna read it.
Ellen and Gab are the, comms directors.
Well, point, Ellen and Gab were hired as communication specialists. They replaced Austin once he resigned as executive director of communications. Ellen has since left the Secretary of Cabinet and now works for KP.
I didn't know that. Okay. Next. What's the motion?
So we're just looking at 3 different messages, correct?
Correct.
Did you send these? Because I still have not.
I sent the hashtag Undergraduate.
Okay.
Sorry, one more time. Oh, never mind, the date's not never mind. Sorry.
Did anyone else in hashtag Undergraduate get it?
Okay, I just got it.
You got it? Okay, I'm sorry.
Just delayed.
What's going on?
So,
Pearl.
so besides you, sorry, I'm just trying to think of how to phrase this. So I don't know if Faith, the text message that is up there has been added to the report yet. However, should we add all of it now that we have the 2 other?
Yeah,
screenshots?
Greg,
We motioned.
Oh, we did? Oh, I'm sorry,
So,
missed that.
Brett.
I actually want to go back to my original motion and just do the one from Devontae, because the other ones, while reference a Facebook message, has nothing to do with her resignation, and the comment that, like, she said he made about it, and I think this one does. So, like, I want to go back to my original motion. And, like, people can debate that, but I think the ones about, like, the post going out have nothing to do with, like, her resignation that, like, she referenced in her, like, message.
So this is what you want.
Yes.
So the motion is on the table to include this in the appendix of the COA report.
Yes.
Is there a second? Any objections?
I can check.
Okay. Any objections?
Although I don't believe that the new messages that we received should belong in Faith's testimony, maybe we should add both, because this one is what is true, but then the second one provides context.
Okay.
So I don't really know if that makes sense to anyone, John.
Just get the point.
Yeah, just because it got clarified in this little sub-conversation, and maybe it's relevant, the text after this one was sent on the 7th, which I believe was post her resignation.
Okay.
The Senate may consider that relevant, may not consider that relevant.
Okay.
I don't know the answer.
Thank you, Mr. Chen.
I don't know if it's, I would say it's probably not relevant, only because I don't know what the context of her saying this person was going to be emailing them, because she was still on Secretary and English to other work for the rest of the month of August, so it's possible that this person just emailed her and said, I want to reach out to other people about these issues.
Wait, can I rescind my objection?
Yes, you want to rescind your
Yes.
objection?
Yes.
Okay, objection rescinded.
So, wait,
Hang on. So, yes?
I have a question.
Okay.
Sam and Devontae, since the next text was sent on the 7th, I don't know if you remember, but before she sent that text to Devontae and saying blah, 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 did you know about her resignation?
I don't interrupt you. But we are now in regards to Greg's motion.
Yeah, I know.
So, I don't think this is like directly,
No, because
relevant.
John was saying that the next text was, because we're debating whether or not this is relevant to, like Greg's point was that, is this relevant to her resignation?
see, the thing is, because Chris withdrew his objection, we are no longer in a period of debate on
Okay,
that.
okay, I didn't know
So,
if this was true.
that's okay. That's fine.
I can re-object. Because I misinterpreted something, but I
If you
understand.
do have questions, I recommend emailing or Facebook messaging them, just for, because I don't want to shut anyone down, I want everyone's voices to be heard. It's just procedure.
But this actually, I have point
So,
of great.
Point of inquiry.
Yeah, Lex is writing like or are you writing a like COA received this and this is the context to it paragraph before you place the evidence now?
No, it will be added as an appendix to her testimony. So it will be like she's referencing this text in the testimony. Next to it will be like appendix, I think it's like number 10 or something like that. So it'll be appendix 10, then you can go see the text message.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Again, thank you. Mr. Pratt made a motion. There was a second. There was an objection. It was rescinded. You're back to voting.
I object.
Okay, there's an objection. You have a right to object. It's just forgetting about it. Ms. Arnell, please take your objection.
Okay, so it's along the same lines. So these texts, the order that they go in, it talks about the Facebook messages because the Facebook messages were sent on the 1st, and then it's the email, and then Devontae sends his message on the 2nd, and then it goes to the 7th.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I agree with Greg in the fact that I don't think I think the Facebook messages are an issue, but I don't think that they coincide with the message that Devontae sent. I don't know.
My motion is to only add this part, not those ones.
Which is what I agree.
Oh, so then why did you
I
object?
Never mind.
So you withdraw your objection.
Yeah, I withdraw. Sorry.
I'm actually,
You're gonna
I
object
think I'm
again?
re-objecting.
Okay, so you're going to take your objection.
So my objection is that these do provide, I misinterpreted the order, sorry, that was my fault. I didn't hear when someone specified it, and I actually think that they do provide context, so.
Okay, so objective.
Yes.
Understood. Sam, you can talk now.
Hi. Okay, so the way I screenshotted these, the little tidbit at the end got added just because that's how large my computer screen is. The little conversation that happened after, had nothing to do with the conversation before. We did still communicate in this group message after the resignation because her resignation didn't take effect until September 1st. So, the last.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay.
when we were talking on the 7th,
Okay.
we knew she had already resigned, but she was still technically the secretary, so we did still have to keep communicating. I didn't purposely put these in the screenshots for a reason. They're just there because of the size of the screenshot.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Please remember, based on what Mr. Pearl motioned earlier, we are under a time crunch. We have about 10 minutes left. Make you all aware. So now, there was an objection. Are there any more points? Now we will vote. All in, right, we're just doing the one from Faith, right?
Yes.
Okay. So all those in favor of including this message alone in the appendix of the COA report, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Someone shout division.
Division, can I do that?
Yes. Okay, so that means, yes, so now we go, yes, correct, go by hand. So all those in favor of adding this message, that'll come later. All those in favor of adding this message, please raise your placard. This one on the screen. Only this one right now. Okay? Five. Thank you. All those opposed? 1, 3, 6. Okay.
So the motion passes.
Yes.
So I want to add the other ones, and Lex, you can just say that, I guess you could add them to Sam's testimony, a little appendix, or a little footnote at the bottom of Sam's that just say, Sam provided the other screenshots, so I want to put Sam's in there as well.
So you want to put Sam's in there, but this one's not in there.
No, this one isn't, this is just passed.
All three that Sam's.
Yeah, I want to put Sam's in there.
It would mean that this text is in reference.
Yeah.
I don't care if this text is in there, you can take that, the one screenshot that has this out, but I don't know if Sam sent the screenshots that way, so it's probably just easier to add all three.
Okay, I second that.
Yeah,
I see.
so we're literally
Okay.
just adding Sam's
Yes,
now as
yes.
part of
And it includes that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I don't care how, whatever you think is best in terms of how you want to contextualize those.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. I guess I'll just say so that everybody knows. I think what I'm gonna do is add it to be so it'll the evidence, her testimony is in Appendix 10, and also this message will be in Appendix 10. But I'm gonna add an asterisk to the bottom stating that these additional text messages are from Sam.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, clarification, what we have on the monitor right now will be in the report just through a different message. Is that the bottom line?
It will be in there twice.
Twice.
Okay, it'll be in
It
there
will
twice.
be in there twice, yes.
Didn't it just fail?
No, that passed.
It passed.
Okay,
Right, yeah.
I thought it was the other way around. Thank you, it passed.
So this is in there, so right now.
So it is in there, this is in there.
To add Sam's.
Oh, wait, that was to my
message.
objection. We were only doing the objection. Okay, never mind.
You don't
Yeah, I know, I got it. I just.
So now, okay, thank you, all right. So now we are going to try to include the ones that Sam just sent, which
Yes.
Lex has. Was there a second?
Yes, I seconded that.
Okay, are there any objections? All those in favor of including these three messages in the report, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, the chair, the ayes have it, these are included. Thank you.
So,
You got about 6 minutes left in our little free-for-all here. So, Mr. Pearl.
I would actually motion to give us 10 more minutes. And I would like to discuss in an open discussion the findings and whether we as a Senate or not agree with them informally before we do the vote. And I would like to go through it one by one. I would yield, yes.
Is what you're trying to accomplish an unmoderated caucus that would therefore pause the timer that was set on business itself?
Yeah, I guess we could do that.
Tricky, I like it. Appreciate it. So we'll do what he said.
Yes.
So unmoderated caucus.
Correct, thank you. So all those in favor of doing a 10-minute unmoderated caucus, that might be all you. Please say, is there a second?
Wait, hang on.
Someone make the motion.
I did.
Can we not do unmoderated? Can we keep like?
We're gonna keep it like summary.
Okay, good. I'll keep it order. It's not like you're all gonna be shouting at each other. I will make sure everyone's voices are heard. No! Really only because of Ben. Because I want Ben to take everything down. And I don't want his job to be hard with it.
So yeah, so I'm motion for a semi-moderated caucus.
It's not a thing, we'll all know that.
Just say moderated.
No, because a moderated caucus would be.
Please, everyone, please, no crosstalk. Wait. So now, there was a second. Are there any objections to Mr. Pearl's motion for a 10-minute moderated, unmoderated caucus that I will keep order in? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Okay.
So the way that I'd like to do this is.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have 10 minutes. Go for it.
Okay, cool. So, I guess it is. Okay. So, I would like to go through Lex's findings one by one with the new evidence that we've added and see if we still agree with the opinions. And if we don't agree with it, I would like to either edit them so that they can fit, so that we can then approve this, hopefully, I guess. But I disagree with some of the findings, and I would like to edit it as such. And whether you agree with me or not, we'll find out in a second. So, number one. President Devante asked Faith Rakowski to resign. It is, yes.
I don't have.
Okay.
I sent it to you, didn't I?
No, I need a report.
Yeah, she is.
Oh! Okay. You keep talking, I'll do that.
Okay, so, I don't know how anyone,
Hold on.
yes.
Can we stop talking can we have a recess of 1 minute just so that I can put the evidence
Yes.
in here, or do you care if I do it after this discussion so that I can go back to the?
No, yeah, I motion to give Lex like a 2-minute recess.
I just am
So,
trying
yeah.
to put this in here.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
for a second?
Second.
And I think that
Any
should be a
objections?
part of the discussion.
Seeing none, we have until 1:35.
Cool.
It was beautiful. I'll send it to you.
We're almost through, everyone. We're getting there. I'm actually gonna pee.
Okay, how?
I need to cut it.
Dante.
Someone to bring.
Oh, dude, you have,
Wait, Elizabeth, you should have gotten the COA report in the meeting packet that went to hashtag AUSG. It went to hashtag
Do you
AUSG.
want me to forward it to you? I have it. Okay, I'll do that right now.
He's a real one. No, he's awesome. Big fan.
Does anyone else need the report? Because I'm about to forward it.
I also work.
Okay.
Christina, I tried to email all of the Title IX training people, and I got message delivery subsystems emails, but I have like 70 of them. So my inbox is like mailer demon.
Oh my god,
I don't
okay.
even know if they're-
Oh my gosh.
So I can't find anything.
I just sent it to you, let me look at it. What? That's the kind of so stupid, I hate computers.
Okay, are you coming Wednesday?
What time?
You don't have to be there. I need to buy snacks, but I petition, I'm getting a key card change.
I intern until 6.
Yeah, I turn until 5, so I'm gonna grab snacks.
Wait, do you know if the house is in session on Wednesday?
Yes, they will be.
Okay, then I'm there till 6. Usually I would be there till 5.
They haven't finished the budget though. They were supposed to finish it Friday and then HSC lost it, so, yeah, I would assume that they'll be in session.
I can meet you after.
No, it's fine, I just, you don't have to come.
I would like to come.
It's
Okay, I mean, if I
Heather and I
can.
put in Facebook Live or whatever it's called. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never done that, and Will knows how to work.
We did it, we put in,
I
I
know.
just need to buy snacks, but it's a real shame that must be tight.
Have you messaged them?
All right, everybody.
Text?
Like, you want to.
So we're back. We have 8 more minutes in this unmoderated but kind of controlled caucus. He said unmoderated. He said semi-moderated, isn't it? So I'm just going to take it as unmoderated and I'll do my job. The best I can. So, Mr. Probat. Okay.
He's
All right, recess until.
No. So are there any other points?
Okay, so,
So now you got it?
yeah, sure, I'll just talk until Chris gets back.
Sure.
So I added the messages in here,
Chris is back.
and Chris is back, great,
Sorry
okay.
about that. Really hard.
Let's,
Okay, so let's go through this one by one then. Lex, you ready?
we're going over conclusion, correct?
Yes, the findings and conclusions.
Okay. And everybody should be getting these updates live since I'm doing it on
Yes.
docs and shit.
It's like, no.
I hate Google Docs.
Well, because we're
Yeah,
unmoderated.
unmoderated, I can say whatever I want.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. No,
Sorry.
it's every one.
That's okay, they all stayed in their dorms too.
That's all.
Okay,
Good?
I'm ready, let's do
Okay,
this.
please.
Okay, so it is, in my opinion, I'm just gonna kind of try to lead with this. It is in my opinion that I actually personally do not agree with the first finding and conclusion that Devontae asked Faith Rakowski to resign. It is in my opinion that the executive board heavily implied that she would resign through the multiple quotes of multiple people saying that they've asked if she had ever thought about resigning, which in my opinion implies you should think about resigning. If I were like, hey Dante, have you ever thought about, I don't know, getting, like, leaving? Oh, you'd be like, oh, like, they want me to maybe leave. Whether that was their intention, I do not know. I feel like it probably wasn't. They probably had no malicious intent, but it was definitely taken that way, and it definitely seemed that way to me during the findings. So I would like to edit the first finding to, I don't know, maybe someone can help me with this, or I want to know what the room is feeling.
So, can I respond?
Yeah,
Okay.
please, yeah.
So, here's where I disagree with you, and
Okay.
where our committee sat down and said, this is a finding because
Okay.
every single one of the executives
Mhm.
said it in their report, and I think that the message that we got from Josh after last week's meeting
Yeah.
is a clear statement that it was said in his testimony, it was said in multiple testimonies that resignation was
Well, imply that's the thing, is that I want to change it because I can never, not in one testimony was she asked, Faith, will you resign?
that's just I disagree
And
with
it's
that.
semantics. I mean, like, from what I've read and perceived the document, that is the evidence that was presented to me, and that's what I believe.
I'll go with.
All
Liz.
other
Sorry.
external
I'll go with
opinions
Liz
aside.
and then I'll let Chris.
I'm scrolling, but it's on around page 50 something.
Mm-hmm.
Josh specifically says, like, almost in quotation marks, the executives asked me to resign.
And I have the recording. You can listen to the recording if you want to for the next 26 minutes. But he said it. And after that meeting, Sam and I, Jordan was not there during that, but Sam and I sat in the office and said that that's clear that she was asked to resign. And I specifically asked Josh in the interview, "You're saying that she was asked to resign."
Okay, so now I'll go to Chris, and then I'll come back to you, and then I'll go to Josh, all right? Chris?
Since this is like a very important point, I don't think we should be going, I don't think that this one should be ignored without being presented with the specific part that Senator Arnell is referring to, so I would like to have that point presented, because I agree with Chris. After a thorough reading, I did not get that from any.
Can someone read verbatim what was said in the?
I'd be happy to play it for you right now.
I don't know if you need to play it, I just.
Look, I think it's.
Actually, I would prefer it to be played. That way we can hear the intonation of his voice, but I would also like to know exactly where it is in the document. Because if it's
Okay, I'm gonna read it real quick and then like.
Thank you, yes.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Page 52, the very bottom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna omit all of the front part. But when something, like when they asked her to step down, or when they talked to her, or when she got talked to, I would know about that.
So it's at the bottom of the page.
Yes, 52. So it's like JG, there's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's the very last sentence on 52, first sentence on 53, for one.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just also in reference to that on page 56. It's kind of worded strangely, so like, I don't know. But it says, I know you've said it before, that it's clear that you admit that Devontae asked Faith to resign from her position. And Josh says, mm-hmm. So like, very vague, but like, it's there.
Yeah.
I sent that to the undergraduate Senate email. I understand what you're doing that, but I cleared that out.
Okay, so Josh, do you think this does something good?
I do.
Okay.
So like, one, as a lot of us like to bring up, I wasn't here this summer, which means that I wasn't directly involved with a lot of the stuff that happened. I was asked to like advise on what should be done, but I wasn't in any specific meetings, and because of that, I will admit, things got jumbled up. So maybe I misspoke. But this is also, like, I think the way that this is being framed by some members of the committee is that, like, I think the way that this is being framed by some members of the committee.
Me.
Okay. Hang on.
I love jokes. So it's being framed.
Yes,
framed.
hostility, everyone.
Right.
Advice.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
Josh,
come on,
continue.
guys.
Thank you. This is being framed in the sense that, like, they all, like all the other executives, had this big, like, plot to cover this up, and then, oh, the chief of staff said this thing, and now we got him. Thank goodness. And is the defining quote. And I really just don't agree with that as like a concept. There is no cover up to be had. There is no like Josh like messed up and revealed this elaborate scheme, which Faith brought up in her letter. That there is none of that. Austin was never tapped to be the replacement. Please ask us about that. Like Austin went around and told people that. That's just not the case at all. And like personally, that would not have been my recommendation. Back to the point, there's not a conspiracy that's being hidden here, and then by my little quote was like all revealed. And furthermore, if you're going to bring me to the J board and try to discredit what I did over the summer, obviously I was not involved directly with this process.
Thank you. Okay, so just to let you know, 1 minute remaining in whatever Chris did.
Please accept it.
It's up for you. Yeah, okay, so I know Devontae has his hand up, and I know Max says something. You sure?
Yep.
Okay, this is a good time to do it. You want to extend it for 5 minutes?
I would like to extend it for 10.
Yes, okay.
Well, we need to
is there a
complete the rest of the
That's what I'm saying.
Second.
More than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. So, we have 10 more minutes to not
Sorry, I object. I think it's gonna take a lot longer. We're still on the first one. So
Yeah.
let's be realistic. Let's say, how many points are there?
Hang on.
But a lot of them are really
By 3 p.m.
Yes, so.
Okay, true, yeah.
So
true.
let's do 20 minutes, then
Yeah.
confirm Hannah if we're still talking.
I like that. Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay,
Sorry.
so, Dan?
Second.
I'll say seconded, good. Any objections to that? Seeing none, gavel, we're good. Next, okay, so we have, I guess, 20 minutes. Yeah, I did, because, you know, if we're in a free-for-all, my sleeves are up, for God's sake. We're cash today.
So let's. Yes, all right, so if, based on Josh's point, if we want to talk about something else that was said, that wasn't what Josh said, whatever like if you guys, I'm not drawing any conclusions based on like whether there was a mess up or a not mess up in what Josh said. Anyway, page 17, one of the things that was brought up was whether she would consider stepping down. Vontae says it at the very end of page 17.
Yes, yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So, if we want something that wasn't what Josh said, there's another point to consider.
Next.
So in going back to the point that was made, I'm not trying to frame anybody. I am simply doing a job that I was given. I was not even going to do your interview, Josh's interview. So regardless of who did the interview, it would have been asked, and that's what would have happened. So I think that like I said, I have the recording. You are welcome to listen to it. It's 27 minutes long. You're welcome to listen to it whenever you want. I think that, like it is being said, it was said in other interviews. It's said in the multiple pieces of evidence that we've gotten from the different articles and emails that she was asked to resign. It's a key point, and the fact is what she was asked to do, or what is implied by all of this, happened. So it is important to keep it in there, saying that this wouldn't have happened if she was not asked or implied to be resigned. She would not have resigned without the pressure. And I think that is why it's first our number one point, because the rest of the thing doesn't even matter if that's not the point.
Okay, so, you then you, okay?
So I think there's a conflation between asking her if it was something she was considering and me saying you need to resign. I think those are two very different things, one of which happened, the latter did not. In fact, after she stated that she wasn't going to, she sent an email to us the next day, and we spoke, and she said that she wanted to make it work, and we all agreed that it was something we were going to try to make work. And this is not like me even asking her if this is something she would consider was like plan A. This was an entire summer where we went through A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Dominic was in on the entire process. We consulted him the entire way, and it's not like we went out from the very beginning like, hey, we want you to resign, like we're out to get you, like you don't belong here. That is just not what happened. What we did was we tried to make it work. We asked her if it was something she would consider. She said no, that she wanted to make it work, and we tried to go from there. And that is exactly what happened. There was no, you need to resign, I think you should resign, no matter what, like I want you to resign. Yes, there was a lack of confidence in the job that she was doing, but there was nowhere in that I said that you need to resign regardless. I asked her if it was something she was considering. And so whatever inferences are being made from that are being just misconstrued. There's a fundamental misconstruction of the events that occurred.
Thank you. You have something to say, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
I think aside from, I think Devontae just brought up really good points, but aside from that, I think what we just determined in the last 5 minutes between the question being asked for evidence to be like presented from the actual document, I think still from the evidence that was presented in the actual document, the statement President Devontae Ferrante asked Faith Lukowski to resign still remains not backed up by the statements that were just read out loud by numerous people on numerous different pages. As was stated before those were read, and now what Devontae just said, she was not asked to resign ever.
Liz?
I want to talk about Faith's testimony, but I don't have it in front of me, so.
It's
I sent Scott. Did I send it to
She
you?
doesn't have it. Let me send it to you.
Scott, could you just show
It's on the document now.
Oh, is it on there now?
It's a Google Doc, so everything that I'm up. It's just not bolded, but it's all the way at the end, appendix 10.
Alright, cool, then I'm gonna read this real quick so someone else can go.
Okay.
Okay, so I just want to find the list.
Okay, next.
Basically, so I want to curtail this because I think we're going to start going in circles soon. I want to vote and see how we feel about this one specific part. If people maybe think that the wording should be, I want to vote to see whether people should at least think the wording should be changed.
I will test it out.
Okay. Just want to test the waters.
Poll, like a straw poll.
Exactly.
At least you do that now. Okay. All those in favor of rewording a specific clause we've been debating for a while,
Yes.
please raise your hand. People that can vote, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All opposed in changing the wording, please raise your hand. 1, 2. A lot of abstentions. That's okay though.
That's fine. I mean,
So.
there are a lot of people that are still undecided, and that's.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. So right now, it looks like of the people that voted, there would be room to change. That could clearly change. Some people.
Can we hear about some of the people that abstained, why they chose to?
Sure.
Yeah, so my main question, and I think, like, I don't know, I'm wanting to, like, believe the best in people. So, like, it seems to me as if whether or not she was asked to resign, she certainly interpreted it that way. So, like, in her, what's it called, personal plan in Appendix 7, like, she calls it a conversation and a call of resignation from the E-Board. This plan was written to combat the accusations that there's nothing being done. So, like, whether or not that is true, like, certainly that was how it was perceived. And my concern, I think, is, as the Judicial Board put in their advisory opinion at the end somewhere, like, they said it's important to comment on the difference between termination and soliciting someone's resignation. They're different, but, like, literally, but in more ways than not, there is no difference. So I think my concern is just, like, how it was misinterpreted on either side, and if anybody wants to, like, comment on that. Sure.
It's on my side.
Yeah.
I know. I don't want to, I'm impartial. That's fair. Good point. Thank you very much. No, I'm serious. We're just we're jumbled. So. Yeah, I understand.
That was effectively what the board said. Basically, what our conclusion was, there's no practical difference from saying, hey, Chris, do you want to resign? And repeating, like, day after day, creating a hostile work environment that makes someone want to resign. We said that both wouldn't be permissible. We don't know what has happened. That is not what we were commenting on. But we were asked that question and answered as such.
No, 10 minutes before we should take a break and return to also I'm going to leave it at that. That's fine. Okay, so Valentina, and then I'll come back around, okay?
Yeah. If possible, I just want to hear from members of the Oversight and Accountability Committee that have their name written on the document but choose to abstain right now as to why they're choosing to, even though they approved it in their committee.
Okay. So, you two. Hi, Sam.
Yeah, I can speak. I abstain. So obviously I was on the committee, but I feel that right now, since it's the entire Senate voting to adopt it as an opinion of the Senate, I'd like to see where everyone is before I decide how I'm going to vote now. Does that answer your question?
Sure, yeah.
I just want to give everyone an opportunity to say what they want to say before I make up my mind on how I'm voting today, because I haven't decided. Yes, I participated in writing the report, but I haven't decided if the way it's worded is the best for the Senate moving forward, you know, that sort of thing. So my mind isn't made up. That's why I've abstained.
Okay. So, George, comment?
Honestly, I mean, we did this whole 77-page report in 1 week, and you know that it took a lot of effort, and a lot of it I felt was a little rushed. So I just want to see where everyone stands, kind of, as well, and I just want to get everyone's input, because at the end, like, it's not 3 people that are going to make the decision; it's an entire body, and I feel like everyone should be part of the process of fixing and editing and adding and removing things, because we just had a week, so, you know.
Okay. Right now, we are on discussing on point 1, and we're discussing the sentence that is said. Whether she interpreted something, or whether whatever, it does not matter. The statement is, President Devontae asked Faith to resign. It's not like Faith interpreted what he said. It's like he asked her, and nowhere did he ask her, you need to resign. That's what it's saying. Like, whether you read anything or not, that's what it's saying. I think that statement is incorrect. Like, I can tell you this color is blue, and you interpret it as purple, it doesn't matter. Like, I think we just need to, like, cut and chase and change the wording of this, whether you agree or not.
Okay, Liz and then Rick, but.
I think the one problem I have with that is a lot of what, I think her name is Emma. Okay, Emma, what Emma said about the judicial board opinion. So in Faith's testimony on page 4, the middle of the second paragraph, it says Devontae made it very clear that he was in charge. At that point, I knew that there was no negotiating. What he said goes, even if it meant putting out poorly written presses, blah, blah, blah. If you look down at the screen cap from Devontae, it says this should have been strategically done, as I suggested in my email, instead of how hastily done it seems. It shouldn't at all be chalked up to a miscommunication or misunderstanding either, since I made it crystal clear how it should have been done. I think that a lot of what Faith is saying is that because she either chose or chose not to, or whatever, anything concerning her decision to resign, it should be noted that she interpreted it that way. Not only that she interpreted it that way, but if there are clear actions from the executives or an executive or some part of the e-board that made her feel that way, and those are valid, but also there's concrete evidence of what is happening, and I'm not Faith, and I can interpret that she was maybe not hey, Faith, will you resign? But there are clear actions on the part of the e-board. I accept that.
Okay, hang on, Greg had his hand up, and then we'll come around. Okay, we have a couple minutes left before we take a break. Greg, you're up.
So, I agree with both sides of the statement. I think saying that Devontae asked Faith to resign is while Devontae nowhere does it say he specifically asked. There is it wasn't just an implied thing either. There was actions taken. So if we're gonna reword it, I think it should maybe asked is too harsh, but then implied is too soft either. I think that maybe find a middle ground, because I think that there, Elizabeth said, there is clear evidence that as someone who was here this summer, had multiple communications with Faith too, Faith felt uncomfortable in that office, and whether that was she it wasn't meant that way, but we also have to realize that it's also about intent versus impact. While it may not have been intended some way, Faith took it that way, and her opinions and her feelings are valid in this. And so I think that while maybe asked is too hard and not exactly representative of it, there's a middle ground that we can find.
So Lex and then Devontae, if you don't talk
I understand the concerns of leaving the sentence the way that it is, but here's what I'm saying, is that these are titles. If you read what it says underneath, it's the findings and conclusions from that statement. If you want to change the title, be my guest, but you can sit here and pick apart this report all you want all day long. It is, the evidence and what people said are right there. So if you can take the title and read the next part and also interpret it that way, then the title's fine.
So,
okay.
Can we all just calm down in the way we talk with our expressions? That's why.
Of course.
Thank you.
Noted.
Thanks, Lex.
Hang on, please. Valid point. Let's just remember, because it's an unmoderated caucus doesn't mean I can't ask you all to be nice. I'm saying that since the beginning of the week. Yes, no, I know, John, I can't formally ask them to be nice, but I'd like to be nice. I'm slowly realizing that's a tough task. So, Chris.
So I think aside from the title of the first point, at the end of the first point, it reiterates what the title of the first point says, which is that, quote, that being said, even if she had been doing a poor job and if President Torianti and the other executives really thought she should be removed, the next step was not asking her to resign. The next step would have been getting the Senate involved with censure and proceedings. That isn't to say all the problems should be solved with punishment, but there were only so many options available under the governing documents. President Torianti failed to choose one, instead opting to create his own, thus subverting an entire branch of our student government and violating the rights of Faith Murkowski. So aside from the title being problematic in its wording, and I think we should find a middle ground, nobody's arguing that the first one should be removed entirely. I think this statement specifically President Torianti failed to choose one that opted to create his own is false. It's factually inaccurate. And I think that's been established through the conversation of the past 15 minutes. But in realization, we have debated on the title of the first point. So it's not just the title we should be editing. I think that last entire paragraph.
Thank you. Okay, so Greg has his hand up before you. He can go first, and then you can go after.
Should we?
Okay? We have exactly 2 minutes.
I just is gonna make a motion to replace the word like asked in that when it has reference to resignation with solicited, coerced, something like that, like a different word that like represents exactly what it was.
Okay. So, thank you.
Yes.
To Chris's point, time's up, nearly. I appreciate what you said, and I think we'll take care of that. However, I think we should probably have Hannah go out right now, because what you're proposing will probably take more than 2 minutes.
Yes.
So, put a pin in that.
Cool.
Move to pause discussion.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any objections? Seeing none. So now we will move into a period, briefly, of new business. As motion at the beginning of this meeting, 2 hours ago, Hannah will be the first person in new business to go before the Senate for confirmation, due to time constraints. So please come up now. I'm sorry to monitor, because we have the live stream and everything, and there are more people in the room. Please briefly say something about yourself, and then we'll vote.
Okay, hi, for those of you who don't know, my name is Hannah Demasay. I'm a freshman, I'm in the School of Public Affairs, and I'm a poli-sci major, and I wanted to do stuff. Louise actually come to me and talked to me about it. I thought it was very interesting. I am interested in government, and this current election we have is like rounds it up even more. So, yeah.
Thank you. Any questions for Hannah? Neither. So you can step outside. Come get you whenever result. Don't get any questions. All right, everybody. Mr. Pearl.
So I'm glad that we're getting JSET people, like I said in CRP. I'm very happy that there are more people filling the boards, such as me, especially with the election cycles coming up. So I would also like to I'll let Louise say something.
Oh, Louise.
Yeah, I just want to say that I interviewed them online through emails, and to be honest, even though they're freshmen, they actually have passion for service. So I feel like we're not just filling up seats.
Oh yeah, sorry, that was fun.
No. I never interpret. I'm just making sure that nobody is getting that vibe. These are actually people who I think are qualified and that actually want to survey you. So I just keep that up.
Thank you. Ms. Pratt.
Are these your appointments to JSEP?
Yes, they are.
Cool, just checking. Like they left the room, so like if it was an appointment, like that's a question.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Second.
So, second unanimous consent. Is there any objection to that? Seeing none. Demonstrate is now part of the Joint Committee on Elections Policy. On it. Congratulations. So, hang on, just quickly, I need to swear you in. This will take exactly 30 seconds. If you want to, you can do a picture. I never got the picture from my swear.
I didn't either.
Me neither, my mom did.
Yes, you did, George. We all did at the same thing. Yes, you did.
They're
George.
The only thing keeping me alive is moment.
No, actually water.
Yeah.
Okay, Hannah, please come up here.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, everyone, please, decorum. It's a big deal for us. Please raise your right hand. I'll ask your name.
Hannah Demasay. Oh, I hear Demasay.
Sorry, repeat it. Sorry. I do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will diligently and faithfully
that I will diligently and faithfully
execute the duties and responsibilities
execute the duties and responsibilities
of the office of a member of JSEP.
as the office of member of JSEP.
That I will abide by the governing documents
That I will abide by the governing documents
of the student government,
of the student
and
government.
I will work to the fullest of my abilities
And I will work to the fullest of my abilities
to promote the interests and welfare
to promote the interests and welfare
Oh, that's true.
of the student community.
Congratulations. We have fun sometimes. So, thank you. You can go.
It's only just about 50% of the time.
Thank you.
It's a good number.
49. I said 50.
Oh, okay. Matt, we'll get to you first. If you have any time constraints, please let me know, and we'll take care of that. So now, Mr. Pearl,
Hi.
You have something to say?
In a second.
Hang on. The chair would look favorably upon a 5-minute recess.
Yeah, I would actually, that's what I was
Because
thinking.
facilities.
Object.
Okay. I don't know about that.
Wait.
2
days.
The next 5 minutes, so it'll be 5 minutes. Okay.
I would like
Any
to-
objections? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say
Aye.
aye. Any chair, the ayes have it. They do that in Congress. So, 5 minutes.
I got that.
Yeah,
I'm so happy.
What a true disrespect.
They got a brand new car. A Honda
I'm like-
CRV. That's nice.
We've been to quad lots of the kids are.
But how old are they? 13, 15, and
Thanks, Greg, you're my lifesaver.
And the one girl, like, she told her mom I was gonna watch her eat her. And she
How much time do we have again? Sorry.
Yeah, I love
Hi.
this, so cute. I was like,
Me too.
that's so nice.
Should have.
I'm gonna grab two. I have to.
Quick question.
No, I like, I think, so I did this thing where when I went vegan, I got off caffeine. And it was a really hard process. But now I'm no longer vegan and no longer off caffeine. So I think my body's just like, what the fuck are you doing to me?
Oh.
So now when I don't have obnoxious amounts of caffeine, I have a really bad day. Yeah, well, I went one day. No, I literally had like, people are like really.
Did you go there?
I feel bad.
We motioned.
Headaches are my periods, I've never been that person. Yeah, I never get headaches. Update. You have headaches. I like wasn't prepared to be. I was gonna go. I came to 5K.
Yeah.
Haley.
Or suggested.
But I was in
Yes,
here
I'd like to
because,
suggest.
If you have,
I
yes, you
was
should
gonna
not
go
say,
to public comment to answer questions
like,
about that,
like,
exact
should we
stuff.
break up? Is not.
But I didn't wanna go with the first one because.
But like, it's.
It is,
Yeah.
but like, it's not.
Asking.
It's like mutually
It's like, it brings in the question and making the person think.
I literally came like straight here. I washed my face. My face was
Well,
I didn't bring
yeah,
some pages.
it's basically how, what was
So basically what happens is.
it's what you guys, what you agree with this document, which is probably fair enough, how is that.
That's my understanding. You didn't know that.
Which I have an idea in mind also, so.
Doubts.
Sort of, I guess, not on the really bad word, but, yeah, because like,
John and I went to TDR and I had some turkey.
so I want to give like a new suggestion, because
Hey,
I
Ben.
really like any of the 3 options.
I don't think
So basically this is.
there's a problem with when Will was talking about,
I didn't read,
But
I didn't read
first we need
that.
to, whether or not agree with it. And a lot of it's semantics and wording right now, which is sucks, but like, you have to use something like I do have the attitude.
Thank you.
I was in like,
I already have 7 here.
I mean, I have to wait until the church.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Yes. 5K was the way I was missed
Christina, oh, $137.
Yesterday I spent most of it doing homework.
She lives in a different building, so
Streets will be electric.
What? Has to be a bad man. Oh, shit.
like the whole way down there. I was like, just a little 5K.
You have 2 minutes.
Okay.
3 miles.
I'm not gonna just call, but I'm doing it. So thank you
You
for.
have the right to do that, no matter what.
Thank you for helping.
That's okay.
I know.
They pay me, yeah, that's what they pay me. So, here's what I'm gonna recommend. Meeting this.
Yeah, I want
Let me just, I really think that it should. Good.
So, yeah. So, yeah, 'cause I don't, I hate Exactly. And then the other 6 points.
I'm Liz. I'm never here. I don't know why this guy here.
Yeah, I was like, she's like, oh, like, let's look at our practice.
Overview session 3.
Yeah, no, after this point, I want to just
Yeah, no.
because I don't like really.
So I actually think we should change the title of the sentence that Chris was talking about. The sentence that Chris was talking about goes off of what me and Emma were talking about. And if we want to change the title to like coax or imply or something, I'm fine. Cool. I'm pushed. Cool. I'm good with like pushed or coaxed or something like that. I don't care. I don't care. But I think that sentence is actually important.
Yes.
The one that Chris was like, we should change that too, and I think, no, that sentence keeps what Emma and I were talking about in there, and then the verb, I think the verb should be changed. There's not, that is a conclusion, not a finding. Does that make sense? And I think the context explains the conclusion, that little header says the finding. So how we interpret that is
You have 1 minute, guys.
cool.
So yeah, I don't
We
want
removed
to.
the part.
I think people forget that part. So yeah, so we'll just change the part and then we'll just power on.
So,
You're fine.
we're not gonna amend this through.
One day.
Process.
We're just gonna do it? Okay, cool.
Not yet, we're just gonna.
Yeah, he's the one who I asked.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I heard what you said.
Yeah, we'll get that.
Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't do shit.
It's okay. Sometimes, you care now.
There is low key, which I'm really happy because I just didn't want to do much.
Too big.
What are you doing after George?
I have so much work to
Do you want to do maybe work together?
I need to look at my group. But that's like not okay.
I'm gonna do work, but the book is not checked out till 4.
Brings us to us.
I don't even think Chelsea's like gonna look at it, so I'm wondering if she could like.
Because I have to.
I have the minute and I have
Well, she is a girl. Honestly, the earlier the better for me. Why?
I know, just.
Like for the
Oh shit.
So I got the new iPhone.
It really doesn't look like it?
Yeah, I pre-ordered it. Well, I ordered it because it's like
Why? What is so special about?
Well, I have an upgrade, and then I want the plus. She's so pretty.
Oh, this is literally like how I feel. This is like, how was your weekend? I did nothing in my apartment except for this once in the grounds.
So also, you grab all along, but I'm not in my friendship. So like, how about that?
She's so cute.
Tina. Whenever I type your name to the, I always type X-Tina.
Good. That's actually my original nickname.
No, it's not.
Do people call you
Okay.
X-Tina or do
I've
people
been alive a
spell
lot
X-Tina?
longer than you've known me, so shut up.
That's when you get to decide what people's original nicknames are.
I know.
George, what's your nickname?
I don't have one.
Yeah,
I feel like I give George a lot of things, but they all fade.
I feel like that's like our common friendship thing, right? Like
We're not friends.
I usually nickname people by like.
I like your American.
All right, everybody.
I have a Harvard professor.
And we're back.
And we're back.
So, time flies when you're having fun.
Chris, do you want me to do that?
Okay, yeah, do you want to?
So here's,
Are you going
so
to question?
we're back to the unmoderated thing. Mr. Pancati.
All right, so Chris and I discussed based off of all of the stuff. We feel like we're going in a lot of circles. So we have a proposition. I think the sentence that Chris read is really important, and that keeps the intent that Emma and I were talking about how there were instances of things, blah, blah, blah. That is a conclusion. The title is the finding. So if we want to change the verb asked, I think everyone is on the same page that that verb should be changed, but the intent of the conclusion is all there, and we all sort of agree on those. So I think Chris is gonna amend the word asked.
I liked your suggestion more, but I don't remember what it was, so please say it.
I don't really have a word. We were discussing, maybe suggested.
If anyone has a
Or
thesaurus
push.
handy,
Use a computer.
I would say suggested or push.
no, we have them, we're just like.
Yeah, whichever.
I would.
Let's do a quick vote. What do we think, suggested or push?
Let's do a verb input here.
Encouraged?
Encouraged, ooh.
Kind of strong, but.
Ken said suggested.
I like encourage. We could go with.
Could we also,
Emma.
like, because I feel like it wasn't, the problem wasn't just that it was like literally encouraged, like, what do you consider resigning, but like created an atmosphere kind of thing.
I think that, so what we're talking
So,
about
like-
is that sentence at the very end that Chris was reading
Mhm.
says that funding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And I
just
think
in the
that's-
main one, just encourage and then explain how.
Yeah, I think that paragraph, as Lex was saying, provides all the context and conclusions drawn from that finding.
Yeah.
So.
Suggest. I say encourage.
I say encouraged. Because they encourage not only, well, that's.
Sorry, Lex.
Yeah, no.
I really don't care.
Just
Give me a
because
word.
I like,
All right. And what have we chosen? Is it one number one? Number two?
Incentivized?
No, that's like, here, I'll give you $10.
Very good.
Fine.
George, do your front.
Huh?
Wait,
Dante.
Suggest slash encourage. How about?
okay, I like,
Hang on, everybody decorum. We can talk.
Go fuck there.
I like what Elizabeth just said.
Okay, so please repeat it aloud.
I think that what you just said, if I heard it correctly, was suggest / encourage, because suggestion implies the physicalness of it, and encourage implies the environmental factors.
Second. Third.
I know.
Any objections? Seeing none. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Wait, can we clarify?
Aye.
I'm
All
sorry,
opposed
this
say
guy.
no. Continue to carry the ayes have it. For our dear friend clerk, please repeat the amendment.
I have another amendment.
It's okay, just wait.
I'm sorry, everyone. Yeah, so right now, it is currently President Devante Torriente suggested encourage big retirement. Because suggested applies to the I did not think that. I suggested / encourage. I want to make another amendment about the first.
Okay, decorum, everybody. Mr. Pearl.
No, it's still the conclusions and findings, number one. Because I believe that it was more than just Devante who kind of, like, everyone I feel like had a point in this. Maybe I'm wrong.
But isn't that addressed in other points?
Is it? I kind of forgot that.
I think everyone.
Then you know what? I drop it. We'll move on to.
We're gonna go back.
Oh, no.
Okay, I wanna make sure that everybody's okay with this before we move on. It is clear to this, the person that is clear to this committee that Faith is asked to resign or step down from her position as secretary multiple times.
Sure, we should change that.
We
So
change it to suggested / encourage.
every single time that it says ask underneath the first one, I guess.
I think that's the only.
I know that's a lot of effort. I'm
No,
sorry.
I think that's the only time.
Schneider.
How about at the end of the first point where it says
No, we decided we like that sentence.
option?
Yes, we like that sentence.
Like it's harsh.
Okay, so full amendment, please state it.
Was that the one that made it?
Yeah.
Okay. In the first line where it says, Lex already changed it. So where it said asked, Workowski was asked to resign or step down, changed to suggested / encouraged to resign / or no, or step down. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I lost it, but we got the main point. I mean, So I moved to change it to that, suggested that
Second.
session encouraged instead of asked.
Okay, there's a second. Any objections?
You know?
Seeing none, cool. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, Chair, the ayes have it.
Point two.
Point two, here we go.
So point two, Faith or Cousin made that. I actually have nothing, I have no problems with the statement. So,
Okay. Nobody? Three.
sorry, it's equal from the scope. The application process for student representing employment, but no. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Questions, comments, concerns? Good. Next.
Sorry, take rules. Shannon McDermott is innocent, sorry, that's the thing here. Is innocent of any wrongdoing when it comes to the appointment of her cabinet members. I agree. I think that she's innocent.
I would like Lex, if you could like expand on this a little bit, on this point. Do you have anything to add? You don't have to.
So, one of the concerns of the committee was that the reason why Rosie Black was put up for the appointment was because she was friends with Shannon, and so she was pushed through and then became the appointment, and then, of course, the rest is history. So, through our interviews, we just state that, you know, it's not because she was friends.
Okay.
Okay. Is that clarified enough for?
Thank you.
Group? Okay. Thank you. So are there any concerns about this point?
No.
Moving on. Pearl.
Point number 5. See, I thought it would go quicker. The application process for secretary was purposely kept closed in order to limit the number of people who apply. So I kind of agree with this point. I'm not sure like how much I agree with it, but like I agree with it to the extent that like, yeah, they didn't want too many applications over the summer so that they could easily do the application process. So I know that they each, during the meeting where Rosie Black was not confirmed, they talked about how they each chose 2 people, I believe it was, which in my opinion, that is keeping it closed in order to limit the number of people who applied. And I believe that they did their best to find the best people, but that's not talked about here. So I think that it was intentionally kept closed in order to limit the number of people who were qualified that applied.
So you're saying it is a literal statement?
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Okay. So,
Do you think it could be, going off of that, do you think it could be reflected that it's without malicious intent to keep it closed?
I mean, I think that was
If you
addressed in
read
a
the-
previous point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it say not malicious or correct?
Yeah, it said it like point 3, I think that was.
All right. So any concerns about that? Okay. Moving on. Pearl.
Number 6, the communications of the student government were not especially mismanaged. This is like a very weird word in my opinion, but like other than that, I think I agree with it. Is that I think what it's trying to say is that Faith did nothing like. Okay, here we go. I'm going to quote the last line of the thing. As such, it's unreasonable to assert that communications were particularly bad under Faith Rakowski. In my opinion, there were definitely some upsets, and there were some problems, but I don't think that it was a special mismanagement, if that makes sense. In my personal opinion, I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any comments on this section? Now, moving on. Okay. Pearl.
Number 7, and this one's going to be a ride. Okay, I'm allowed to speak for Sina. I'm the one doing it. If you want to, you can speak.
Okay.
Number 7, impeachment or censure of one of the multiple people as possible. Or one of the multiple, impeachment or
One
censure.
or multiple.
Oh, thank you, sorry. I'm not particularly fond of these suggestions. I just want to, can I test the room, see how we're feeling, what's everyone thinking?
Maybe Lex, do you want
Yeah,
to
let's
address
listen
it
to Lex.
first?
So the reason why we put this in here, as I've stated before, is that we wanted you to know the options that are available to the Senate after this report. This is not even our wording. This is simply, we took it right out of the Constitution.
Exactly, yeah.
So we put what censure is, we put what suspension is, and we put what impeachment is.
Yeah.
Now it's our decision to decide. That we even say that we take no position on what course of action should be taken.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yes, that I understand. Sorry, yeah. I should have specified what I was saying a little bit better. Is that I kind of want to speak about this point with what we also have to do after if this report is passed, which I guess would be annoying and hypothetical. But I don't know. Does that make sense?
Send you one.
Okay, so so our caucus intent was to specifically amend this document.
Sure, you're right.
So can we just switch to a moderated caucus or unmoderated, whatever, to talk about our opinion of approving this document? Because we are, unless anyone, if anyone has any amendments, let's put those forward so we can move on to talking about approving.
This is a point. So, thank you for addressing that. So, the way I understood it was, we're gonna be doing this unmoderated caucus until we were done amending that. So, once we have finished with point 7, we should go back to regular order, and we should then, each person gets 2 points if they want it, for 1 minute each, and then we vote.
I agree.
So that's what we should do.
So I would like to close my unmoderated caucus.
Mr. Schneider, do you have a point though?
Yeah, number 7 should be addressed if the Senate doesn't actually have to do anything at all if it so chooses.
I think that's,
I thought that was agreement.
yeah, I think that was.
No, the options are censure, impeach. Or,
Okay, see, that's where I kind of
do
want
nothing is an option that is not presented. And like, if you're trying to be unbiased and fair, that is an option that should be presented.
Okay, sure. That's, yeah,
In regards to that though, it is presented within the report, just not in this section, because these are actual actions that can be taken.
Okay. Can we take actions external from the,
Nothing is nothing, it's not an action.
oh, wait, but if I want to, wait.
Number 7 specifically says impeachment or censure of one or more people is possible, and this is how you do that.
Yes.
So these options address the title of number 7. Not doing nothing doesn't have to be addressed in this.
But
Because it says
Wait.
it's possible, so the title says that nothing is possible.
Okay, can we do, like, let's say we come up with a 4th idea hypothetically, are we allowed to hypothetically pass?
We can, but if we put number 8 in there, do nothing, that kind of looks
No,
stupid on our
not do
part
nothing,
as
but
the
let's say
Senate.
like someone finds something else that they think would be justifiable, like rehabilitation and punishment of the things that happened that
This is
provide
not saying that
precedent.
this is not saying that we need to choose one of these options.
Yeah, that's my question, is that like, can we choose an external option that we all come up with
Absolutely,
together? Okay,
absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. If we want to choose a different option, that's completely fine. And if we choose to do nothing, also completely fine. We put that in there so you know the actual actions that can be taken in regards to the information in this report.
Okay, so it's just basically, it's a suggestion.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So,
It's not a suggestion. I'm not making the suggestion that any one of these can happen. It is laying out to you what is in our governing documents to do.
Okay.
Doing nothing
is
nothing, or if we choose to do something else, that is fine, but you have to understand that's not in our governing documents.
So are these a list of possibilities, then is that a better thing to say?
I mean, like, if you choose to
Is
do
possible.
something.
Possibilities. Possible.
That list, so
Yes.
you agree, okay, sorry, I just wanna make sure we're on the same page,
Yeah,
and I'm
we
sorry
are on
about
the
the
same
semantics,
page.
but like, I just wanna make sure.
so, Chris, say something and then
I think that it's known that these are the options as they're presented in the governing documents. So I think, and this is in the findings and conclusions section, the committee didn't find or conclude that these are the options. They're already laid out in the governing document. So in fact, I don't see the benefit of keeping this in the report at all, knowing that they're already in the governing documents as the result of us ending the investigation.
Right, so I'm with you, and I'm with you, Chris. And a lot of this deals, like a lot of these points, we are arguing over like specific words, and they matter because like these are going to be the public takeaway for the next however long people look at this. So maybe it should be something along the lines of the government document or the governing documents say you can, but like this is really, to me, it just seems like not a proposal. I'm not imploring anything, but like without saying this and saying that like the governing documents say you can do this, it really seems like there is a slant or a frame to this that shouldn't be there because this is going to be looked at in a lot of years to come.
All right, so there was an impeachment proceeding COA report, blah, blah, from like the 7th Undergraduate Senate, and they have a section that is almost verbatim this section with the current bylaws say. The way that they did it then, I'm not looking at it, I just have read it. So the way they did it then, they did like a page break under 6, and then put like further options. So that was a separate section. So if we want to do that, then I think in the table of contents of this report, it says findings and conclusions, and then we could have like Roman numeral 2, like options going forward, and then verbatim from the bylaws. Does that make sense? So instead of having 7, like, here are your options, having Roman numeral 2 section of like permitted options going forward. Then if you really want, I think it's redundant, but if you want to include a bullet point of like nothing, include that bullet point. But if you guys are really worried about the significance of this, then make that happen.
So I would like to just, let's see how it is. I would like to actually vote on the idea of putting in Roman numeral 2 or whatever and saying the bylaws state that these are possible options that we can take going forward. As that way, it doesn't imply anything, I suppose. Can I restate just so that, like, I want to hear, like,
Yeah, so we're gonna be, is it like, is it a poll, is that what we're looking at here?
I kind of want to vote to see if we can just do it now.
Okay, so. So, Chris, you would like to do a informal yet formal vote on people's stance on this potential Roman numeral thing that we're looking at. So, you can handle it.
Okay, so then how do we feel about changing the wording to the hypothetical Roman numeral 2 or whatever, let's phone speakers behind it, and say, with it saying, the bylaws state that we are given that we are given these options that the committee, we are given these options which the committee suggests should be used against.
No,
should be used for.
I'm not saying that they should or should not.
Okay.
Literally,
none of us
documents
are.
of this,
Sorry, I'm
of
just
this
trying to-
undergraduate
Senate say.
government, no, of this of AUSG,
Okay.
say, here are your 4 options.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
All right.
So how do we
Is
feel
everyone
about
else, is the question I
Yes,
guess.
yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so that was informally taken care of.
Formally, what's happening? I don't.
Now let's vote on that.
Okay, so all those in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Any of the chair, you guys have it? Sorry. So, Mr. Pearl,
Now,
is your business concluded?
I believe in
Okay,
my
so-
business with this document.
Roman numeral 2 in the table of contents will be
I like Liz's wording better than I can remember.
options given in the governing documents.
Yeah, it's just like,
This is just for the table of contents.
yeah, no, it's just further options, or like options for
Options
further
going
action.
forward.
Options for further action.
Yeah.
Options for further action.
And then I believe that in that vote also nothing was included. Was it? Am I wrong?
Anyone really, I feel like. if
Just
you
write
take
for
two
nothing. That's it. You don't need to
What?
explain
Okay.
it.
No, I just feel like then you just like.
That looks stupid.
That looks
We look like
stupid.
we look like a dumb Senate. I mean, that's
Because
do we not
we
already?
all, like, we
Well, that's
understand that we don't
that's
have
your
to,
own, I guess.
we don't want to. Like,
Yeah.
like include nothing, include nothing.
Should I put my time back?
Who is someone?
Still,
No, we're almost done. I'm just waiting for.
I don't know what we're doing. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, whoa, whoa.
documents-
Somebody is on this document, and
Like, no one can type on the movie.
no, that's not true. People have.
Yeah, yeah.
Why have you guys?
Or maybe I don't. I know. That
Who is anonymous Kraken?
I don't think you know.
You don't know.
You never know until you research.
This is okay. Yeah, Google has a not, like, you get assigned an animal if you're not logged in.
What are options for further action?
Yeah.
Everyone wants this.
Can you capitalize on that?
Just like these also.
Sure.
I don't think it's happening.
Yeah. We're going to the line.
Lazy day.
Really? Sundays, lazy day, Scott?
Historically.
You haven't been on the schedule.
Maybe they're doing summer.
Sunday is
Yes, Valentina?
Hi, I have a suggestion maybe, instead of saying do nothing, what if we word it as the Senate chooses to not pursue any sanctions?
The Senate can't do.
I like that.
As like a fourth option.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay,
Awesome.
so,
Vote.
thank you.
Yeah.
Are we doing that as a vote?
Yeah,
I feel like
Do we have to vote?
I
Do
feel
we
like we're not,
disagree?
it's not do nothing, because if we're adopting this as the opinion of us, we didn't do nothing.
But yeah, so what Valentina just said just clears that up, right?
Can we do no further action?
Okay, that's fine. So the undergraduate senate chooses to take no further sanctions after this document.
Or
Technically,
can we
this
put,
document.
could choose to take no further
Yes.
sanctions? Well,
Yeah,
No, but there are no sanctions already. Accepting the document is sanctioned.
yeah.
Also, just brief thing, it says opinions for further action, just make sure it's options, right?
this is a
Options,
No, it's
oh, on the.
Yeah, I think it was
bottom.
just a,
On the top it does or on the bottom?
just
Yeah, you
what
got
you
it.
just fixed.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then so it's gonna be
Yeah.
undergraduate senate. Duty, lay out the possibilities for the undergraduate senate, which are as follows: 1, censure; 2, suspension; 3, impeachment; 4,
Take no further sanction, or take no further action.
no further action.
Yeah.
Just no further action. Cool. And we now,
Do we need to have a subheading for explaining what no?
No.
Okay, no. Okay,
No.
I'm sorry. Okay, then I would like to end my unmoderated comments for this document.
I
Is there a
second.
second?
Yes.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're out of it.
Now.
So now, wait.
Oh.
Oh,
Business.
We'll get back to this. All right, back to work. So now, per the rules, everyone who has speaking rights in this organization, and anyone who we give speaking rights, gets 2 points. 1 minute each. We'll be very strict with the time. Because it's late. Mr. Carl, you may begin.
I kind of want to move to vote.
yep.
Okay, second, any objections? Seeing none. All those in favor of adopting the report, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The report from the committee has been adopted. So now, now we move to new business.
Oh wait, I thought we
Are
had
we-
to choose.
no, okay.
Someone has to make a motion. Someone has to make a motion to do something.
Oh.
No.
No, remember the motion to put COA above new business,
Oh,
so it
yeah.
automatically goes back to new business.
But that would.
Well, yeah, no, they just were saying, I thought we were going to talk about what's next, but someone has to make a motion to, like, bring some kind of further action. Like, it doesn't just go into it.
Motion to
No, go on.
amend the agenda to add, discuss further action of COA report as A or as G? Pick
Wait.
one.
So, what we did right now is we just adopted the report. So that is the Senate formally saying we agree with the findings.
Yes.
In regards to what you all want to do further, I don't know if this is the proper forum to do that. So, you want another unmoderated conversation?
I do want another unmoderated
Well, I
conference,
just want,
but-
we have to add it to the agenda before we do anything. So let's add a section to the agenda that says we're
Can we do
further
that?
options
We've already
of
adopted.
COA
Suspend the
report.
rules.
And then if we want to make that, if we want to suspend the rules and make it an unmoderated topic, then we make it an unmoderated topic.
All right, so it's before me. So is there a second?
I second.
Are there any objections?
Well, wait, you gotta decide if you wanted to say or D. I didn't decide that.
I kind of think A.
This is A.
Because
All right,
we're
sorry,
we're
Brandon.
talking about it now, so.
So,
Sorry, Brandon. I'm so sorry.
It's like I said, it's only like this 50% of the time.
No.
I'm Brandon. What?
No,
I'm sorry, what's your name?
So what we're gonna do is go back to.
Okay, we'll call it that for now. Mr. Pratt, you have something to say?
No.
Okay. Raise your hand up.
Do you want to moderate this session?
So, Mr. Pearl.
I'm bringing it back. I would like to
Hey, we never voted on it, I'm sorry.
Motion to vote.
Oh, no.
We didn't vote on, no, I just said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so motion to vote then on
So,
this.
there's a second, no objection. All those in favor of adding this, please say aye.
Aye.
All those say no. Okay. Done. Mr. Pearl.
So, I would like to do Mr. Pearl's unmoderated caucus part 2 for the discussion of, for the discussion of the thing, and I would like to restrict it to 10 minutes.
Any objections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Mr. Pearl's unmoderated caucus part 2.
All right. All right, it's off again. All right, Mr. Pearl, you're back to work.
Give me a second, sorry.
Chris, what are the times on?
Okay, so
Thank you.
Haley, when she left, told me this.
Okay.
Her thought was to open a J-board case, so I guess we can first discuss, I don't know which option that is, but we wanna-
It's like one of those external options, I
Okay,
think.
cool, so if we wanna, I don't know, in what order we wanna discuss things, we wanna go down the line.
Let's go down the, I'll go down the line for a second, if no one minds. So, I believe I don't want to do censure. We've had 2 weeks at this point to go to anyone and speak to anyone we so desire to and bring that information forward. No one's done that. I don't see the point of wasting our time further doing censuring. I don't think so. Suspension is something I do not want to lean towards, as I think that it takes up, it just looks bad and it stops a lot of everything, and it looks bad not only on us but also on them. And I understand that there needs to be a punishment given. However, I do not think, or I guess there needs to be a punishment given. I don't even know yet. I don't think suspension is the correct option, nor do I think impeachment is the correct option at all in any way, shape, or form with the current thing that we just adopted. That's just how it is.
Alright, I wanna make a comment about
Please do.
suspension.
Yeah.
So I'm Haley's proxy, but I also am a member of, I guess, the cabinet.
Yeah.
But in working in student government, I think it would be really harming to
Yes.
tell every director under, every cabinet member, really, every single person that is in SG, hey, you're gonna have, we have to train someone new for you. You're gonna be under them for a couple of weeks or however long, and then you're gonna go back to your old boss. Like, that just sucks. Like, if we think about the transition from being from one secretary to another, like, it's hard, it's difficult, we don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
So I think, it's my opinion that something needs to be done.
Yeah.
But I think suspension would just cause a lot of headaches for a lot of people. That's fine.
Okay, so yeah, I agree with that. I think that one thing before I start talking and continuing on is that I believe there needs to be precedent set for this in the future, as we don't really have anything, because like when problems like this arise within the e-board, they usually come to other bodies. But during the summer, all the other bodies are out of session and no one's really around, except for I guess the J-board, but like they're a public body. I think that we need to do something, we need to do something that makes it so this does not happen again. I don't know if this is the time. I think there needs to be like, I don't really understand how the conversations really went, as I was not part of the conversations over the summer, obviously. Why would I be? But I think that there needs to be like kind of, I don't know, I kind of don't have any ideas on this part, but like something that says like, if there are problems that are had within the e-board within the future, this is the way to handle them, other than just going to Dominic. If that makes sense. Yeah.
As John said earlier, like legislation would do that. Like
Yes.
changing the bylaws would do that. And like I think, I'm not going to speak for the entire executive board, but like we would appreciate if there was clarification on what to do in the summer when that stuff happens. Because as Devontae said, this was not option A, it was option R, right? So we would, I would really appreciate all of that stuff. And I think future boards would as well.
Yeah. Because I think that'd be good.
And like furthermore, we think that, that like doing this through the Senate would be the best way, because like there's a lot of you who are elected to do this stuff, create legislation, change bylaws, as opposed to sending it to the J board, which is a group of like 5 people, not elected. And like this is going to set precedent for future people, as opposed to just like basing it on the current documents, which is what they would have to do anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Right?
I like don't. I think like a bill like to set precedents is good, but I don't think that should be the only course of action, because I think that like that like we just as a I say we as a Mapoxy, like as a body, report which is accepted saying we think these things like took place, and like some of them were like people agreed with like egregious things, and I think like that right there, like if we do nothing and nothing happens, it's like saying that's okay. Like yeah, we know that happened, but that's okay. And so I think they're like, yeah.
I'm gonna go based off of, like, whether we do a bill or not, whatever. But here's the thing, if you read the J Board opinion, and if you read like the COA side report, it specifically says that there are other options.
Yes.
Like there are already defined options. Whether or not those were understood is a whole other thing, or whether or not that's what happened is a whole other discussion. But there are options that exist, and that is a totally separate conversation from what we do in response. That is not a response to this. That is a response to maybe them not like the E-board not understanding what those options were. But the fact is there were options, they didn't take advantage of them, or they didn't employ those. So I think that in my opinion, is completely out of this discussion.
I agree. Okay, so
Lex?
This is kind of just me talking off the comments. Like, I agree that I think suspension isn't the option because it would give people headaches, and not only that, but like, I know we say this all the time, but like we have to think of all these individuals that are being impacted by this. Like, with a campus that is already so like divided, like. It's like we can't think of that as an option, dividing our own organization just because, you know, something happened. Like, do I think something happened? Absolutely. Do I think that something needs to happen for not a punishment, but to realize that what did happen over the summer was wrong? Absolutely. But I don't think that the options laid out, censure, suspension, impeachment, I don't think those are the correct options. But I do like, it makes me worried because thinking about the bigger picture, like where did it all fall apart? Like was it transition? Was it just the minds in the room? Like did the minds in the room not connect? Like is it our governing documents? Like those are bigger questions that as a Senate we can, you know, maybe have a meeting or just a discussion in the office about, but I think that what happened was wrong. I think that Faith is a victim of something that should have never happened, and I don't know. I feel really bad for her. Like she is a victim in this situation, and I don't know the solution to offer her.
Yeah, so I think writing legislation to further guide, you know, the executive board and the organization down the line is a good option. But I also think in hearing everyone's comments, it's important to acknowledge that things could have been handled differently. So what if, and I know this may not be what everyone wants to do, we were to offer a public apology not just to Faith, but to everyone in the organization, to understand that what we did could have gone differently, and recognizing that there were wrongs, but in being able to still move forward. Because I think, as you all said, censure, impeachment, suspension, those aren't the options it doesn't seem like anyone's leaning towards, but something still needs to be done to recognize that what happened should have happened differently. And I think I can speak for Sam and Shannon when we say that we would be more than happy to work on something, and before it even goes out, get everyone's opinions and thoughts to make sure that it's accurately reflecting the situation at hand.
I'm not gonna address what Sam said with something else. I don't necessarily think censure is a bad option, going off what Lex said. We were to fully understand, like, was this a miscommunication from the start, a transition or something like that? I think questioning is not, it's a formal thing, and maybe the title needs to seem very severe, but I think that's actually maybe a good idea for just, like, invite everyone to come talk to us and talk about what happened and tell us their story and in a less formal way than a COA investigation or a J-board investigation or something like that. Like, just come talk to us. Maybe we don't call it censure, but I feel like that's the word that it is. But just like inviting everyone involved to come talk to us is probably a good idea. That said, I think also that because those options existed, I think maybe they're, like Devontae said, that what happened wasn't, it was option Z maybe, but the fact is that there were a lot of options that didn't happen there, you know, like maybe this wasn't option A, but what was option A, B, C, D, and why aren't we seeing that those were the correct options taken, and what happened exactly? And I think that an investigation in that sense might be a better option. We have a COA, but I think a J-board investigation might address those concerns if those are the concerns of the body. Sure.
I'm gonna go down the line, no, to the list. So Emma, and then Val, and then Josh, and then Lex. So Emma?
Yeah,
We
so.
have like 4 minutes left, by the way.
Oh, okay. So I just want to like emphasize, I think a public apology, regardless of other things that happen, is a really good idea. And because I think so much of this is like perception. I think that was so much of the problem initially. And so like, I think outside of SG, as someone who just joined and like doesn't really know what's going on, I think like the perception as like from people that aren't a part of SG is like what's really important here, because if people hear like, oh, like even if it's different than the reality, like the idea that like, oh, just certain people get appointed because they're friends, or like, you know, people get asked to leave, like even if that's not the case, that's what people outside of SG hear. So I think some sort of public statement would go a long way towards clarifying like things that actually happened and like things we're committed to changing, and then also following through with them and saying like, if the problem was like a negative atmosphere, like trying to, you know, have some sort of conversation and different, whether it's through legislation or anything else, like how we're gonna go change that.
Yeah.
So I think censure is a really bad idea. I think the COA has already done their job. I think we've had extensive conversations about this issue. Like Chris brought up, no one else has brought up anything new, and I don't see anyone else bringing anything new within the next 2 weeks or however the censure goes on. I think there are more pressing issues that the Senate could be working on. I think this is interfering with direct advocacy in all branches of student government. I have to cancel a meeting with Josh because of all of this that I had today related to important advocacy related to financial aid. So I just don't see why we need to put more obstacles in the way. The student body does not care about this. This is only an internal SG thing. Like, get over it, move on. Public apology. Let's get things done.
I don't want to step on Elizabeth's, thank God he's toes here, but I was talking to Haley earlier, so I'm just going to read a quote. My personal opinion is that you guys just owe a real my bad apology to Faith.
Okay, if we're gonna go that way, then
No,
I'll
listen,
retake these.
I'm really.
No, but if we're gonna go that way, she texted me J-board, and I said, do you want to adopt as a general thing? And she was like, yes. And I said, but do you want to vote for it to go to a J-board case? She said yes. So if we're gonna play that game, we'll play that game.
Okay, we're not.
No, hang on. Like, why does everything escalate so quickly? Like, no one's playing a game. We are trying to move forward together at this point. And I think it's important that we realize that, like, emotions are running high. There's a lot of personal feelings about this, but we need to be focused on moving forward together and not calling anyone out on game playing. Because just right now, it's a lost point.
Okay, Liz. Thank you. Thank you, both of you. Appreciate your comments. Right in the minutes. Stan, you said, whoa, 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 and you're right. Let's just take a step back. We have 2 more minutes of this. Say civility. I can say civility until I'm blue in the face, but we're not going to follow it. So you know what? Lex, and then Chris, and then Sam, and then we're done. So, let's move forward.
The censor, so going off the censor, I think that, you know, as much as it would be nice to ask all these questions, like, I think the problem is that as a body, as people, as students of this, like, organization, we have heard so much. And so, at this point, we are 4 weeks into the semester. We are all we're all engrossed in our own work, in our own organizations, and I'm not saying that that is a reason why this should not go to that. But I do think that it will continue to hinder advocacy, continue to hinder other progression of, you know, progress on our campus. But to reference the fact that the student body doesn't care about this, I think that is a complete, like, terrible statement to be made. The student body does care about this, because not only was it their own student body member that feels like a victim, it's also, we're not working together, we're not creating advocacy, we are having to deal with all these other problems because of these issues that happened in the summer. We are not doing advocacy because we're working on getting a new secretary. Before that, it was, we were still working on getting a new secretary. All of these things have led up to this point in time, and it's important to look on that history and say the student body sees that. There are tons of issues on this campus that are not getting our attention for that. And so the student body does care. In that respect, though, I think that a public apology from Devontae, maybe writing an op-ed in the Eagle, and a public apology from the whole e-board to the student body would be something that we can consider, because at this point in time, I think that it is important that we do mend things and continue to move forward. As Devontae has said, there is still things that need to be done. And as an organization, we're crippling ourselves and falling apart. And I think that it's important that we do put this behind us and continue to mend together and move in the right direction. There have been so many people that have gone through this organization who feel this way, who feel hurt, who feel like a victim. And it's time to stop. Those are discussions that we're not having. We continue to go through this every week and we talk about this, but yes, it is legislation. There are things that need to be talked about. But this is the biggest thing since who knows what, I don't know. It's frustrating. Go on.
So I just have you want to extend it before I continue.
I'm kind of inspired. So, what do you want to do?
Do you mind if I step in for a period of 5 minutes?
Okay.
Second.
Any objection? Seeing none, Glenda?
Yeah, only 5 minutes because I believe we're starting to circle again as we do, but that's okay. Because this is an important conversation to have. I just kind of want to say that in order, I agree, to move on, we need to acknowledge our problems, and that's been a problem in the past. A lot with Senate culture and SG culture is to just kind of leave something festering and hope it gets better, and then it kind of comes back later. We need to put a Band-Aid on this scar, and we need to make it heal, and we need to move on from that. I believe that an apology is in the right direction, and I believe that it should be moderated by the Senate, maybe, if that makes sense. I personally would like to see it before it would go out. I don't know how other people feel about this, but because this might be opening something before it heals, and I have not spoken to anyone about this, but maybe conversations between the current executive board members and Faith Rakowski should be held if she's okay with that. And I know that sounds insane, and I'm sorry, backward. I know that sounds really outlandish and kind of bizarre to say the least, and it is opening new wounds, especially for a lot of people, and that could be really hard. But I think that might be a step in the right direction, especially upon writing this apology letter. Now, I don't know how anyone feels about this, not talking about senators, but executive board members, and including Faith Rakowski, because it's, okay, so that's not going to happen, so I understand that. But I think that something needs to be done. I like this idea of the apology letter because it's something that's acknowledging what has been done was incorrect. And I don't know where to go from here. That's why I only gave myself 5 minutes, so I hope to run myself out.
In terms of an apology, I think that maybe there should be an apology since Faith, whatever, but I think also from elected board members being part of the student body, Lex was saying, the student body does care about this, so if we're going to do an apology, I think it shouldn't just be dear Faith, blah, 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 blah. It should be dear American University. I think that there are problems in a lot of different fronts, and I think that an apology is owed to a lot of different parties.
Yeah.
Chris, you want to?
Yes, okay. So I've spoken to Faith on numerous occasions about what she thinks should happen. And so I think that I don't like how censure is set up in this organization because I don't like that whole questioning thing. I think it's stupid at this point in time. But that being said, I think censure, I think basically what the Senate should do is condemn the overall actions of the executive board, and if they want to name specific people, that's fine. So basically just call people out and say that this could have been handled better in a condemnation, resolution or something. And then aside from that, I think that since we still have not appointed a secretary, I think Senate should mandate that Faith have a seat at the table in the next week as we select the new secretary. I think that would mean something very much to Faith, and I think that it would restore some stature that she has in this organization. It was a lot for her to resign, no matter what the cause was. So I think that Senate taking actions to make her feel that this is being resolved properly will, aside from a letter which she may or may not think is genuine or whatever. And I think that there are specific actions like nomination and mandating her to have the seat as we go forward in the secretary process will mean a lot to her. And I think that that's what Senate should be aiming to do, not just be like, yeah, this was bad and we're going to have Devontae read an apology. Because I think that can mean something to the student body, because as the student body does care what our student leaders are doing, but to Faith specifically, I don't know how much that will mean. And I think direct actions that will impact her very directly will mean a whole lot more.
One more person. Sam?
Yeah, I just want to say I think there are a lot of good ideas being thrown around for how to move forward. I think a public apology could potentially be a good idea, and I want to thank the president for offering that to us as a solution. I also want to say that though it seems we can't all agree on exactly what happened, we can all agree that we want to prevent what happened from happening again in the future. And I would just pose to the Senate that perhaps we could create some sort of task force, committee, I don't know what to call it, made up of members of the Senate, members of the executive, particularly like human resources, to look at, our governing documents, any sort of policies we have, to try and revamp the system and make sure that this doesn't happen again. That's just an idea.
Thank you. Time for moderate comments as well. So we are moving. New business. And my time. We are going to move to the confirmation of Brendan Bell to be a senator for the class of 2018. Bill, there?
Yes.
Okay, so please come before the Senate. Briefly.
There technically doesn't have to be, right?
Beg pardon?
Does there have to be?
No, there doesn't have to be, but we just spent 20 minutes talking about doing something, so something's gonna happen, you guys need to do it.
Someone needs to make a motion. That's what needs to happen. All Brandon talks,
Yes, it does make sense. So, here's what I'm doing because of the rules. The time is expired. It's up to you all if you would like to suspend the rules again and create a resolution, then go for it. But until that time, I need to get through new business. So if you all want to start writing a resolution, go for it. The minute you have it, tell me, and we'll put it up there. But I'm not going to put a pause. So the idea of a resolution is being thrown around. It's up for you all to decide. You have a question?
Wasn't the unmoderated caucus just to kind of openly discuss it, but we never got to point A. It was like point A has to be resolved without moving to point B.
Oh, we discussed the report.
But that was in an unmoderated discussion.
I also
That was
don't
not
know that
addressed
that's
in point A.
necessarily, I don't know if it's necessarily fair to that, because if we're all sitting here typing resolutions about people being confirmed.
Yeah.
That's not really fair.
So my question would be.
Dante.
Yes, Greg.
I motion for a 5-minute recess to if people want to write a resolution, they can do that, but also just take a break, calm down, breathe before we move in, so we can give the confirmees due diligence and our attention.
Yeah. Very good. Okay.
Second.
So appreciative. All those in favor, no, excuse me, any objection? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. We are in 5 minutes. We have until 3:06.
Who wants to write a resolution? I'm going to do the Hello.
Oh, that was great.
So is anybody currently writing a resolution? Because I don't know, I don't know, but I've already done that. I want to be whereas, I relate to COA.
Yeah, it's
therefore.
This is my part.
Yeah.
Okay, but like other than that, I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say whereas.
Are you watching this?
George, you should just.
No, I'm just going to check out both If you're watching the game, that's fine.
When you're coming back, I thought
Yeah,
you
I'm literally just coming to get a book and come back.
Yeah.
Vicious. What was it on?
I was doing it on the web, I put it up on my but I got it to myself and I tried opening it, so that was cool.
You should try it on a different computer.
I don't know how to try.
Try it. Did you do it on a PC? Okay, then do it on a PC because sometimes it. Oh, you tried it on a PC.
That's why I went down right now.
Do you know what computer it was?
It's not what I want around.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, I don't know how it
Chose me
As soon as you log in, it's
A lot of books work with it.
And I have no idea how to resolve that. I'm glad she quit. She doesn't deserve it. But I'm very sorry she was talked to because she didn't deserve that. You, my friend.
We should have gone to executive session.
Email the professor.
And
You
we-
know, that would have been an interesting idea. But see, here's the thing. Yeah, that would have. I would have rather seen a. Yes, I don't.
Okay, so everyone, I'm writing a resolution and then just all the whereas for the findings report.
Yeah.
And then, so therefore we'll do like,
Whatever.
we're gonna, I feel like the multi-round approach should have.
Yeah.
And like that, and Tuesday, that doesn't mean other things should stop. In fact, we should do this.
Should get a
while doing
George,
other things.
should have a Jordanian.
I'm saying like in general, like there's no objective basis. You know, I don't know. This is personal.
So,
A
It's just
resolution,
personally
so,
unacceptable.
right now I'm just putting all the whereases, the findings from the report, like the titles.
Okay.
And then we can edit it from there, and then the therefore will
What,
be.
does it have any goal?
I'm thinking
Because
right now,
that's
we
Yeah. We already have the statement is
Yeah.
already existing, so.
yeah,
So like we can go into actions and
say,
we
like,
can help to write
yeah.
a letter.
What was suggested was public apology, safety included appointing secretary, and some sort of regulations, and then the bylaws.
I'll do that separately, so I'm gonna work on that this week. I'm gonna contact the board members, work on them, letter, do some research. I can verify that anytime this week, I'm gonna try to get it done.
1 minute.
So, mental health of everyone in this organization is being affected.
It's inappropriate in American culture. Yes, it is.
I do it all the time. People know.
That doesn't mean it's not inappropriate.
Not only Drew, bring in mucus. I want to clear my throat. I want someone to hear me.
I did it like quietly. Where are you gonna go?
I wanna go eat, I wanna go work.
Where are you gonna
Work out.
No.
I like the fading you do.
What, on the sides?
Yeah.
Recess is over. Now, because nothing has been presented, let's slowly say we are going to move into the confirmation of brand new ballot to be assumed for the class of 2018. However, to give you all an extra second, I'd like to say something informal. What do I say every week? We're a club. And I really, really, really do not think it is becoming of a club to have a member of it leave visibly upset. What we're doing in here is important. No one's saying it's not. But let's just take a second and realize there are people here, and just because you type something on the internet doesn't mean that person's not going to see it. It doesn't mean that person's feelings are not going to be hurt. You can post whatever you want. Just be people. We're students. We're people. We have feelings. We have emotions. I'm upset by this entire situation. I had to sit here today and hear that. In her words. You don't think I'm upset too? But you don't need to post online about every little thing that is said. We have the minutes for a reason. And personal call-outs are not warranted. Thank you. And if I see that online, it's perfectly fine. I stand by saying that personal call-outs in the club are not necessary. They don't resolve anything, causing unnecessary drama. And we are a place that loves drama. So, with my tirade, soliloquy, let's call it a soliloquy. Moving back into business, we're moving to the confirmation of Brandon Bell be a senator for the class of 2018. Mr. Bell, are you ready?
Yes.
Good. I'm proud of that. So you may come before our esteemed group, and you may speak for at max 4 minutes. See, I like you already because you read the room, which is good. So,
I know we're all tired. I'll be very brief, and I'm sure a lot of people are stubborn. And I have a headache. If anyone has Advil, I can do something actually. So I know a few, but not all of you. So I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Brandon Bell. I'm a transfer student here. I transferred last year from West Virginia University. And I know, crazy, right? What am I doing here? So I transferred here for my love of politics. I do this. And you know, I am a lesbian major. And at West Virginia, I started a club as a freshman. Is the first Israel advocacy group on campus. And as a freshman, I was even more difficult because I don't know anyone. And I truly have no problem standing up and fighting for something I believe in, which is, it's Israel's right to exist and defend itself. And the group is still going strong today, which I can proudly say because I spent a lot of time reaching out to people that know, clubs, have connections. Because I, been knowing when at West Virginia, I really know how to start a club. I really have advice from professors and upperclassmen, and I learned a lot from that. So what I've been doing here as well is I also got involved in Ameripac, which is basically the same thing, just closer to APAC. APAC is, a very distinguished lobbyist group for Israel rights, and I want to get involved in clubs. This is a club that I'm passionate about, and I'm not going to get involved in a club that I don't care about, and this is why I'm obviously here today. And my passion definitely grew after the Banana incident. That is, when I heard about it, that was actually like, you, Chris, and I've never heard of anything at West Virginia. West Virginia is using West reputation. That's absolutely pathetic, and I want to get involved with the government to work with the community and build a better community, because right now there are some cracks within the community, and I think that we need to move them back together.
Thank you. Excellent. Are there any questions for Mr. Bell? Mr. Brittle?
What other time commitments do you have? Sundays I'm free, and then throughout the Monday through Friday is by ear.
Any other questions? Seeing none, you step outside. Jonathan, get to the end of the Any points or motions?
Hello. Sorry, I'm being very cool. I'm still like in your formal mode. Sorry. Why rescind? I'm so sorry.
Yes.
We talked about MCRP. We brought him in, but we decided to let the entire Senate decide whether or not to bring it into Senate. He seems very motivated, but I don't think necessarily he knows what exactly SG does. When he mentioned the banana incident, he seemed as if we had done something like an investigation or something like that, but all we did was just put out a statement that we condemn these actions. Other than that, it's fairly the game, but as Dante mentioned before, he has his reasons to bring center.
Points? Motion?
I just have to reiterate what I said. That's what I was going to say.
What's the motion? For a second? Any objections? All those in favor of appointing the nominee, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. You going again? Yes, Scott?
I can.
Now, we will move to the confirmation of Haley Sheehan. Sheehan, yes, I'm sorry. So, for the record, in CRP, Haley could not make it, but I read her comments aloud, and we decided through a voice vote to send her to both sides.
Okay.
So you make it again.
Hi, I'm Haley. I know some of you are Sunshine Cecilia faces. But if you told me a year ago that I was standing here, I would literally laugh at you. Like, I'm not, like, I didn't think I was interested in politics or government, but I also think it's because, like, I never really felt part of the community. Like, I was born and raised in London. My parents are American. They didn't really know where I fit in, and I feel like at 80, I found somewhere that I do fit in, and that I feel part of the community and the community I want it better. And, my one really big thing is I'm really passionate about mental health on campus. I did a documentary for my class last year about how mental health affects students and how it's treated on campus, and it was just kind of very shocking the result, and there's so much work that needs to be done on it. Like, the national stat is that like 25% of kids at college have a treatable mental illness, and at AU that's 3,000 kids. You know, it's a lot of kids for what our services are. And I think the problem isn't like the actual services, it's the access to the services. And I think student government has always done a good job talking about it and addressing it. But I really want to be a driving force on it because there's a lot that needs to change. And the way students experience depression and any other mental illness is going to change and is always changing. And we need to have a system that reflects that. So.
Thank you. Any questions for Haley? Seeing none, you can go step outside. And
It's alright, she got.
oh wait. I'm
Just
sorry.
other time commitments.
I'm in a sorority with Alabama.
Thank you for the question. Thank you. Scott will come and get you. Any points or motions? Any points or motions?
Motion vote.
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none. Johnny, over here.
We'll just keep on laughing going.
We haven't had that. Haven't had that. Made me feel good. Okay, so we've took care of Hannah and we swore her in. Now we're going to move to Matthew to become another member of the Joint Committee on Election Policy. Just to make you all aware, Hannah and Matt are my appointments. The president gets 2 more. One more?
I mean, there's only one here.
Okay, then one more. And we jointly appointed Lisa Day for JSEC. So you get 4 minutes if you want them, and then we'll move into questions.
For those of you who haven't met, my name is Matthew Wheeler. I'm a freshman in SIS, and I want to join JSEC because I think it's a good stepping stone to then be able to become part of the Senate at one point, if I still wish to run in the future, and also I think it's a better way to get myself involved in the school.
What other kinds of meetings do you have?
I don't believe I have any that will conflict with being a part of JSEC.
Any questions? Seeing none. Luis, since we gave you speaking rights at the meeting, your point?
Yeah, I just want to say that Nancy's actually very into Jason. Before this meeting, he was really worried about you guys screwing him, and he asked me like if he needed to know the policy book and bylaws. I mean, I told him yes, because he has to know them for the job overall. And he's just really into it. He's willing to put the time into it, and I think that we need that. We need more members like that in Jason, and especially freshmen, so that they can learn the role and then bring other people in as they leave.
Thank you. Any other points? Mr. Midway?
Motion to vote by name.
Second.
Any opposition? Seeing none. Congratulations, all three of you. Please come up to the desk so I can swear you in. Stand right up here. I always forget that. So, please repeat after me. I state your name. Okay, so I do solemnly swear that I will diligently and faithfully execute the duties and responsibilities of the office of that I will abide by the governing documents of the student government, and I will work with my fullest abilities to promote the interests and welfare of the students of American University. Congratulations. You two will get nameplates next week. So, stay. So it's first name, last name. And we'll get you two AUSG emails after this meeting, so we can keep communications up. That's true. Okay for that. So now we will move to resolution 1516-020, the resolution to stand in solidarity with the AU community. Now I have that.
Yeah, I was asked to present this, but I'm curious.
Yes, that's true. So this was a resolution drafted by Mr. Ryan and Ms. Lane, neither of which are here, because they have a class. There it is. So it's all in the meeting packet. So if you wish to briefly present about it, you can.
Right.
So you go for it.
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys have read it at this point. It's just literally what it says, according to Lancey, that we agree to post the solidarity hashtag on Facebook if we pass this. This resolution is just a way to keep our records public, like they are supposed to be. Any questions?
Yes, any questions? And as Valentina said, so last week we scanned the resolution we did by Emma and Sam. We put that online. I'd like to do the same thing if this passes. And I'll post, or I'll have someone post the hashtag on the AUSG Facebook page. So with that in mind, are there any points or motions? Mr. Ridgway.
Motion to acknowledge the bill resolution by unanimous
Second.
So second, any objections? Seeing none, this resolution has been passed by unanimous consent. Chris, do you have time after this to just briefly put this on the end? Okay, thank you. Appreciative. So now we have Bill 1516-033, a bill to streamline Senate record keeping. This will go to the committee. This will go to COA. Now we'll move into old business. A bill to begin using the Remind 101, I guess it's an app, to connect the student body and the undergraduate senate. UAA did not meet this week, so that's tabled. Okay. COA report, we did that earlier. So that concludes old business. Move into a period of public comment. So, like normal.
Oh, wait.
Yes, Lex?
I thought we were coming back to the COA, are we not?
Well, it was up to you guys.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna make a motion that we request the president, along with the rest of the E-board, to make a formal statement apology. Do we want to, I guess this is a question for the Senate, but I don't want to go on that again. If we want to have it under our discretion or not.
Okay.
Having the, yeah.
So, Devontae, you have something to say about that?
Yeah, I can like write something up and just send it to you all before anything's like published, and you can all like make edits. You can like Google Doc or whatever. You can all make edits. You can collaborate on it, so to speak, before it's sent out.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the motion on the floor, on the table, floor, whatever, is that Devontae, along with the E-board, will release a public statement to the student body apologizing for what happened this summer in regards to Faith, apologizing for how, I guess, affected AUSG, and it will be sent to us before it's made public.
Okay. You object?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like they're adults. They can fully create a document that can be spread to the public, and if we judge them on that, and that's who they are, based on this context for this particular scenario, I think they should. That's one of the people that we don't have to see.
Okay. Now we're in a period of debate because. Okay. So now we're in a period of debate. We'll start with Liz.
I think if we're gonna order an apology, there should at least be some accountability or oversight of it. But I think there's if we are the ones requesting the apology, they are accountable to us, in a sense. So I think that there should be some oversight. I'm definitely feel like everyone's kind of open to ways we can do that, but I think that there should be something before they just publish it in the year.
Mr. Rogers?
So I would just say I think it depends where the apology is coming from. If it's coming from all of student government, I think it would make sense for the Senate to have some sort of collaborative partnership with the executive board on that, but I think if it's an apology coming specifically from the executive board, it doesn't really make sense for us as the Senate to edit what they're apologizing for. I think that's a little strange.
Regardless of what it is, I'll send it out as a courtesy anyway, just so we're all on the same page. That way, when anything's published, no one's surprised, and that way we can all move forward knowing what's going to be said.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm agreeing with Sam 100%. It's not our duty to write this. It's on them. They know what to do.
Okay. Mr. Pratt?
Since Devontae, even if the Senate doesn't take him to make him do it, he's gonna do it anyway. I think that the objection is just irrelevant because he's gonna do it anyway. So I think we should just vote and move on because we've been here for 3.5 hours at this point.
No, we can.
Hang on. Yes. Second point.
Yeah, I don't think it's relevant at all. The objection was that we should not have the Google Doc open, whereas instead of opening a Google Doc where we as a Senate can edit it, it would just be a document.
He's just saying though that he's going to send it out. It's not about us editing
Yeah,
it. My request is not about.
I just want to clarify that there will be no Google Doc. Just want to clarify.
Okay. I will rescind that part of my statement under the impression that I will get something that I don't need to edit, but something that I can see before the rest of the public.
Yeah. I feel as though that it's agreed to.
I'm just making sure.
That's fine. Good question. Okay. So now we have to vote. So Lex asked that we formally get something. Mr. McWay objected. All those in favor of Lex's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Make sure you guys have it. So, no. Now you have it. So, thank you. So now we'll move into a period of public comment. So, as always, all senators please just tilt your laptops if there are any members of the public who wish to speak. Any members of the public who wish to speak?
Oh.
You're a proxy.
Yeah, I think it's not a proxy. I have something to talk about. Okay, wait, am I?
You're a member of SG.
Student government, do I just go to the?
Yeah, you're a member of SG, you're not.
Yeah, well, I just need to say anything about SAC. Tell me where you want me to say it.
Not.
Just say it. Just say it.
Okay, cool. Hi. Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. SAC is doing Title IX training with Heather Pratt for SAC advocates to be advocates in Title IX cases to assist respondents in these cases. If you have questions or concerns, I know Laura's talked about this a couple times. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. I'm happy to address any of them. Heather is happy to address them. Right now, to my knowledge, the training is not going to be open. If anyone really wants to come, I'm happy to ask Heather about that and see. I definitely think we would prefer to not have you participate, but have you, if you really have concerns about it and would like to sit in, please reach out to me. If you have any questions about advocates in these types of cases, or how SAC assists in these types of cases, shoot me an email or whatever.
Cool. Ben? I just wanted to say that there was a lot of unmoderation today. But so these minutes are going to take a while, so don't expect them until maybe Saturday.
Thank you for the update. Appreciate it. All right. So, any other members of the public who wish to speak? Seeing none. Moving to a period to go to the order. Now, we'll start with people who are in Senate. All senators who wish to speak, please raise your hands. Okay. Okay. Any of the Senate? Okay. Any of the senators? Okay. Executives? Oh, all right. All right, so let's start with Mr. McGuinn.
So I want to say thank you to everyone for the past 4 months. As many of you know, I'll be resigning in about 10 minutes. I have to, on the basis that I'll be a conflict of interest as a prosecutor and as a senator. It has been great working with all of you in all different aspects and coordinating this organization. And I hope that as prosecutor, I can work progressively and productively with each and every one of you, especially in the coming weeks of this was the award. Thank you.
Thank you. Good way. Interesting foreshadowing. Next, we'll move to Mr. Pearl.
I'm actually piggybacking off of Chris as he was a member of finance, and now we have an open position.
And my chair position and my other.
Exactly. So hopefully someone wants to run for vice chair, as in the last meeting, no one really cared, and that made me sad. Other than that, I just want to give a heads up to the e-board. I want to reach out to you guys, talking about like legislation to like set further precedent, so this doesn't happen again in the future. So I'm probably gonna be reaching out to you like probably later today to like maybe see if we can like get together or something, talk to you, like maybe I can show up to one of your e-board meetings and we can just like talk about it, because that's something I think that we all decided we want to get done. And then other than that, we had another long meeting today. It happens, and emotions run high, and it really got kind of murky at points, as someone was saying earlier. But I'm glad that we kind of have gotten through a lot of it, and we still have a little bit of healing left to do, and it's going to take a little bit. But I think that we can get through it, and I'm hoping for the best. So happy Sunday, everyone. Have a good week.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, hi everyone. Long meeting today. We made it. First, I just want to say that I brought up the idea of some sort of task force to prevent what happened with the Secretary's resignation from happening again. So if that's something that interests you, maybe we can talk about it at some point, whether you're a senator in the executive branch, whatever. And then on a related note, I wanted to personally apologize to Josh Gutmaker because he has reached out to all of us in Senate multiple times and hasn't gotten responses, at least from me. I can say I haven't responded, and I wanted to apologize for that. He's trying to build a bridge out to the Senate so we can all work together on advocacy, and we haven't met him halfway. So I want to apologize.
Hi. So yeah, I just wanted to like thank everybody for like dealing with this. Nobody like punched each other, so that's great. So you know. Also, I just want to say, like, as someone new to SG, it's kind of intimidating, but I think what struck me reading through this report, that was very well put together. Nothing personal, that it got amended for everyone. But that when everyone was asked, like, oh, is there anything else you want to say? I think every person that was interviewed said, like, this was not our intention, like, expressed a lot of kind of just, like, remorse for the fact that things seem to have gotten out of hand, and that everyone just wanted everyone to get along. And I think we were coming from a place of, like, good intentions, and that's, like, really key. So I think we can really, like, move past this since everyone's heart is in the right place.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just think we're going to have a good week. I know that the past couple weeks have been crazy and that this has kind of been the forefront of a lot of people's minds. And, you know, I think that just with everything that happened today, that it is important to remember that, you know, mental health is a huge thing on this campus, and it is something that we don't have the resources to, we don't have the necessary resources that we deserve, and that this organization should not be an organization that tears you down but builds you up. I know that I've been proud to be a part of this organization. I'm ready to leave, but I've been proud to be a part of it. And I just think that, you know, I know that we all say things sometimes, and there are things that need to be done and business that needs to be handled, but that you never know someone else's story until they tell it to you. So that it's important to keep that in mind. So I hope everyone has a great week, and yay for fall weather.
Yay! Adele.
Hi, I haven't been here all year, so this is really interesting. For those of you who have not met, I'm the director of KPU. I just wanted to just give a little quick update, like internal stuff that's been happening. So we have 5 amazing support staffers who are all freshmen, and I trained them, I think, like 2 weeks ago, and then also trained 10 other staffers, so they're all brand new. And then we just had our first big event, Kazamanaj, less than 2 weeks ago. And then on Monday, SPA told me, by the way, Senator Warren will be here in 48 hours to get a plan together. And it would not have been successful without like the entire KPU staff. So I just wanted to give them like a shout out and kind of just so that you know that like they are all working super hard and they're all amazing. I'm super excited where these freshmen are going to go because they've blown me away in just like a week. We have another really cool event coming up that Sam mentioned, so that will be really big. We have a lot of co-sponsors, so we have College Democrats, College Republicans, LULAC, LASSO, and Network of Enlightened Women. So a lot of people are getting involved, and I think we're on a pretty good, so I was whispered turbo vote. That's another thing, so quick segue on that. So if you ever see me at a party, I'll probably have turbo vote cards on me, and 2 weeks, sorry. But yes, turbo vote's super important. It's super helpful. You just like spread the message on your social media and tell other people to get involved. We are going into phase 2. Josh has a plan for October because phase 1 was really getting everybody aware of the campaign, and phase 2 is like getting people to actually make a plan. So lots of fun stuff over in KPU. So if you want to take a breather, take a seat with us, I don't know. Have a good weekend. Yay.
Thank you, Chris. So I just want to reiterate how important I feel intro sessions are. So as we move into the last one, I would really like, I said this in the report, but I just that we should really have as possible to get our new students, whether they're transfer students or first year students, you know, that we are, I guess, done everything for us. So we have, every time I log into like an email administration system, how many active members we always is top 100. So that means that there's 100 people checking their email. That means there's 100 active members of this organization. And I tell them different things. So I think that it's very important to have all those business representatives, whether or not what you do might be interesting to a first year student. I think it is. I think whether you are typing social media posts or like a support staff member for K2, what you do is important to how we function as an organization. And I think that needs to be recognized and getting first use so yeah, so Wednesday at 9:30 Next Sunday, I will not be here. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, myself, Emma Glosso for KPU, and Lisa, the deputy director of sub, along with my grant from student activities, will be going to Charleston for the NACA. I don't remember what that stands for. And there's like some cool SG, like SG swapping of information and pamphlets and stuff. So I can't wait to bring back all the information.
Thank you. And I can testify, it's not a lot of glitz and glamour. You know, I was really, really happy.
Wait.
What? Oh! You're up.
I have no idea what I'm going to say yet. I just want to say how important it is that we resolve the issue. I think, as Chris said, there's a lot of healing that still needs to be done. And I know for me, all of what happened was very personal to me. And I know we say not to take things personally, but it affected my job, it affected my livelihood, it affected my well-being, this entire process. On the bright side, I have a lot of great new content from my therapist this week, so that's good. But I will be writing the statement this week. We'll all collaborate on that with the e-board, and I'll send that out to everyone before it's published, so you'll all know about it. As Chris also mentioned, he'll be reaching out to work on legislation, so I encourage you all to work with him on that. Let's see what else is there. I spent the last week, as I mentioned in my report, working with the administration on how to combat racism on our campus, which is a very important issue to me, not just as a student body president, but as a black student on this campus. The fact that there are students who don't feel safe should be unnerving to everyone in this room, and so I encourage you all to, reach out. Let's figure out how we can work together on that. The secretary process, again, was moved back a week, so I'll be scheduling interviews from Monday through Wednesday, and the SG-wide interviews will be Thursday to Saturday, and then we'll hopefully have someone palatable for you all on Sunday. And what was my last point? 1 second, sorry. Oops. Yeah, if you wanted to meet with me about anything, reach out and let me know. Again, I started my LSAT classes this week, so I'll be a little busy. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints. Just want to chat. Cool. Thank you all.
Sure. I just think, because I didn't address this in my early order, I think that as somebody who is confided in over the summer and throughout this process, I think that it's important to her that people in this organization recognize how, beyond what she wrote in her statement, the letter that was read today, beyond what she said there, I think she wants people to recognize how it affected her very personally. And I think, aside from what Secretary, accepting her, including the COA report and doing the thing with the apology letter, if you see faith or, have it, if you're thinking about it, I think something you can do is reach out to her, talk to her, because I think that it's really important to her that people recognize what happened and how it affected her. I just said, it's just a matter of the recognition of how she's going to move forward as well as a person. So if you see her in passing, she has office hours in SAC now. She's an advocate. So if you pass by and see her, just sit down and talk to her, because she I think really like that. Just after everything that happened today and everything that you all talked about, I think that getting your perspective on a personal level would be beneficial for her, and I think it would be beneficial to you to have a personal conversation.
Okay, logistical stuff first. Do your office hours.
I don't have access to the room, man. I don't know what you want from me. I actually don't. I tried. Yeah.
Okay. All right. It has, but I'll work.
Thanks, man.
All
You're a good
right.
speaker, you know that?
Yeah, I do my job. I'm immensely proud, hang on, I want y'all to hear this. I'm immensely proud of the new senators. I'm immensely proud of the new senators. Because I remember when I first joined this organization, I was petrified. And I had no idea of what the hell I was doing. And some people are just completely jumping into the process and are doing things. And they're being very, very active. And I very much appreciate that. And I'm only looking at you because the other people that have been involved that are new aren't here right now. So I'm very pleased by my appointments, and I hope my other appointments will take up their issues seriously. Got a couple weeks left, so just lay down some ideas and see what happens. I like what Chris said. A lot. A lot. Because I think, for those of you who were actually listening, I'm not calling anyone out, I'm just saying, for those of you who were listening, you sort of were given a window into what someone went through this summer. It was hard. And I'm not just saying that because I know her personally, and I'm not just saying that because I was there, but we preach up and down about how we're people, but sometimes we don't act like the other person we're talking to is a person. I think that is an issue we have as an organization. We tend to look at only titles and jobs and, oh, I must get this done tomorrow or people will think poorly of me. Sometimes we need to just sit down and say, we should take a step back and realize what we're talking about here. Because words affect people. A lot of words affected a lot of people this summer in a negative way. And that's why we sat here for a couple hours today. So, I do recommend what Chris said. I recommend if you are sincere and if you actually care about someone's opinions, thoughts, and emotions, reach out. If you're doing it for show, don't bother. But if you're doing it to be sincere, go for it. I think she'd appreciate that. God knows I would. I would if I were her. So with that, I'm trying to do a short meeting next time. Christina, do you have something?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to you, Dante. I know this was really difficult. I mean, I just can't even imagine. I think you handled yourself really well, and no one could have done it better. So I just want to say thank you for handling this meeting.
I appreciate it. I don't need a round of applause.
You want a hug?
No. Yeah. I don't think I'm the person who needs it. So thank you, though.
Motion to adjourn.
Who said that?
Me.
Oh, you? Okay.
Me.
Is there any objections?
Abstaining? Absolutely not.
Next week, be there or be square.
They're wearing.
Be square.
Yeah, also people show up to CRP because
We don't We're expecting people to come at 11 a.m. on a Sunday.